can you give us the noise you make when you come into a fucking hard tackle? Can you just do it in the microphone? Do it in the
every tackle.
Ready? Give us 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to Pre-Season, a podcast focused on profiling everything on and off the field across the Sunshine Coast A-grade competition heading into the 2024 season. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Local Property Group, your trusted real estate experts spanning from Caboolture to Noosa.
Welcome back, episode 12. DK, how are you, mate?
Good, brother. We're coming back. We've got finally the long-awaited last episode.
Yeah, but before we get to that, let's a bit of a pat on the back here for us. We've gotten through it. One more episode left to record, which is going to be a special guest episode. But the final team to talk about today, which I'm pretty excited about. We have just done a bonus episode. So if you're listening to this episode, we would have dropped a bonus episode a couple of weeks ago, which is about the Sunny Coast draft, which basically means one thing in particular. DK and I are probably about however many beers deep. So it could mean a good episode because we've got a mate here with us today. But it also could mean that we talk a lot of shit for a long time and we switch off anyone who doesn't like Beerwah.
It's dangerous. The views are high on the Beerwah episodes too. But hey, welcome in to the legend, Jamie Hill.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Have a round of applause button.
Been waiting, so finally got me call up.
Yeah, I could see you've done outfit change and grown the beard for today and really made yourself look nice for the episode.
Yeah, shout out to my sponsor, J&B Electrical.
Speaking of sponsors, we've got a couple of ideas we can throw around. We're wearing the pre-season hat today, so those watching the YouTube video, if anyone wants to sponsor some merch, we can put some logos on the caps.
Yeah, it's been really good. The feedback we're getting from the podcast, so we're pumping through the apps. Jump on. Hit us up on the Instagram, hit us up anywhere on the socials, fellas. So
what were we talking about before the episode? We were talking about maybe doing some, I don't know, social events or something. So if anyone wants to sponsor some social events and...
Look, we've got the fantasy up as well.
Fantasy.
NRL fantasy.
Yeah, pre-season. It's a public league, so jump in. Anyone can jump in.
Could be a cash prize at the end. There's plenty. I think there's 35 people in there already. So
there's one for you, yeah.
Jump in on that. And we're looking at maybe doing a bit of a golf day.
Golf day would be good. Get all the boys, all the guests on. That'd be good.
That'd be unreal.
Yeah.
So.
Would it be four players from every club? There's an idea.
And then me and JB will run the drinks cart.
And maybe do a live podcast with portable microphones.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
I'll take 50% of that one, I reckon.
Can your business sponsor said golf day?
Let's talk to Ford Harrell. We'll leave it with
Damo's father-in-law.
Yeah, we'll leave it there.
All right, let's dive into it. Good episode today. Jamie Hill, welcome, mate. Thanks for coming. Any comments to kick us off?
No, I've just loved what you're doing. I've listened to every episode. It's a good initiative. There's not many people talking about the Sunny Coast footy and whatever, and it's a pretty tight-knit community. So
appreciate it.
Even just off the back of a couple of episodes that you have done, going and having a beer out and seeing a few of the boys and whatnot, I think everyone's a little bit closer as opposed to what happens on the footy field. Everyone hates each other, sort of thing. So
I like that. That's probably the one thing that I've appreciated most. We've brought people together.
Oh yeah,
a bit of
seen Jacko and Hilly in a little cute photo on the other weekend. So.
I saw that actually. That was cute. That was cute.
Jacko called you out straight up too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Good mates now though, so it's all good.
I think he said he was going to play lock against Beerwah this year just to fucking try and go toe to toe with you.
He's got about 20 kilos to do, but he hits hard for a smaller fella. I'll give him that.
Yeah, well played. All right, mate, hard-hitting question. I think I know the answer to this one already, and we are well and truly ahead. Socks up or socks down, my friend?
Start socks down, start cramping, socks come up.
Oh, you're a bit of what?
Yeah,
what are we calling that? That's a downer.
That's a down.
He's down. That's all right.
We've got Follow in the background here. We've got a special guest in the background just waving his hands around. What are you doing there, mate? Down. 50-50. Down. That's a down.
Yeah, I'd say.
We might look at changing this question up coming into next season as well. So we've got obviously some updates coming through. I know we're using Hilly's podcast right now as a bit of a segue to the 24 season. So maybe at the back end of the year we might start a new hard-hitting question, but there's more things to come anyway. So
I'm all for it. What do you reckon? What do you reckon the next hard-hitting question could be?
Put out the listeners, I reckon.
How much tape you wear?
Yeah, it's funny, eh?
Right, get into it. All right, let's start with a bit of a journey Bit of a journeyman, Hilly, right? So let's start with your journey. Well, I'll first give you some credit where credit's due. We were running the numbers before. I haven't got it up anymore, but 68, was it, Cup games?
Yeah, I think so.
Across 2 teams or 1 team?
Mostly at the Capras. I went down to Tweed the COVID year. So I played just the 1 game there, and then that's how I got to Beerwah. Just spent all my money. And
well, let's recap. Let's go back a bit. So obviously, born and bred Western Sydney, right? So and how far west are we going here?
Oh, St Mary's.
St Mary's.
So about 45 minutes out of the city, 10 minutes out of Penrith.
So not the really poor part of Penrith, right? St Mary's is a pretty nice area. Isn't it?
St Mary's is pretty nice. It's just on the other side of the highway to Mount Druitt. So
okay. So grew up playing footy, like under 7s onwards. What was your story?
I started. I think I was 4 when I started playing in the under 6s. Played 2 years.
Yeah,
and then every year since then, I haven't stopped yet.
DK and I were talking about this a few months ago. You guys weren't aware of the no boots deal down there.
No, we didn't. I wasn't a part of that.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Is that your age, or was it? No, just didn't happen down there.
No, even my brother, like he's a couple of years older than me. He's only, I think, a year younger than DK, and he was always boots as well. So it must just be a Queensland thing.
A lot of syringes down there. A lot of syringes. Just I'm throwing it there straight up.
Mount Druitt, Blacktown.
Yeah, you know.
St Mary's a real prestigious club, man. Like that's huge down there. I think they play a lot of the Penrith trials out of St Mary's as well. Like a lot of the coming through the grades, they play a lot of Penrith trials, mate. Like sometimes I think I listen to the Jermaine Hopgood podcast on Kempy. Mate, he went down there for a trial coming down from here and played. There was 6 games that day in his age group.
Well, a lot of
great club too.
A lot of decent players come out of that.
Huge catchment area.
Like Penrith's got the biggest catchment area of any club in Australia, like any area in Australia. So
is St Mary's? Is it a private school area? Like, is there?
Nah. Look, there's a couple of private schools, Blacktown and whatever, Hill Sports High School and stuff like that.
But private schools still play league, or they play union?
Mostly league down there until you get into the city, like Newington and Scots and all those sorts of things. But West, it's just league.
Yeah. Okay. 2 brothers. Sorry, 2 brothers.
Yeah.
So family of 5. Yeah. And obviously your whole family has ultimately come up until recently. Your brother's obviously gone back down. Correct me if I'm wrong. But,
Blake's gone back down there.
So rep sides growing up, always in rep sides growing up down there.
Yeah, I think I sort of made my first rep side about 14 and then just sort of ticked through all of them. I made the Penrith side, like the under 16s, 18s. I moved to the Tigers doing that. But, I was never like the superstar sort of thing. So just a hard-working player. And I had a really good junior side. I think that probably helped. Like a couple of NRL players come out of that side. And
who was that?
Sony Luke, he's with Penrith now. Tyrell Fulmono, he played a few games a couple of years ago with Para. He was at Para, then went to South and the Dragons most recently. So we had a good side, and then I think most of our rep sides were picked out of our club side and one of the other club sides, Minchinbury. Yeah. So it was unreal. Like that comp, it was honestly so good. Like it was probably better than playing in the rep comps half the time.
Just the quality of play. So what got you to Queensland?
Yeah, it was 20. I think it was the end of 2017, and I was just playing at St Mary's. I went back after I played my first year of 20s at the Tigers, and then Brett Kamali. He was my coach.
Oh, true.
And we had a bit of a tiff at training, so I got sacked. And then I went back to St Mary's, and I was playing in the Ron Massey Cup. Yeah, I was a bit heavier back then. I was about 108. Just fell in love with the piss and having a good time. And
as you do,
I was doing all right. I was starting front row in a Ron Massey comp, which had a heap of ex NRL players were coming back, getting paid $1,000 a game, sort of stuff. So they'd come and do that, and I was doing all right. And then sort of started seeing a few of my mates that I'd played junior footy with and that making their NRL debuts, and I just thought, fuck, I've got to give it a crack, So I went on the New South Wales Rugby League website and I checked out all the sides, and I thought, fuck, these sides are probably a bit too good for me. So I looked in the Qcup, looked on the ladder, looked at the team coming last, found the Capras, rang the coach, said, mate, you need a player.
Is that a legit story?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't. No.
I got on the phone to him, and then I think that was just before I went to America, a week after that phone call. And then I got back, and I think 3 days later I was in the car driving up.
So how old are you at this point, sorry?
21.
Fuck. So there was nothing happening. There was no whispers in your ear or no conversations to push on to NRL contracts or even training trial deals when you were down there?
Nah, they were going to give me a pre-season to do at Penrith after with the New South Wales Cup after my Ron Massey season, but I just Penrith have seen what I can do already. Like that,
if they haven't done anything,
so I was just like, there's no point. So I'll just start looking elsewhere. And I think moving out of like Sydney and Penrith was probably
good thing for you.
The best thing I could have done at the time for my footy and just myself as well. So I just wanted to challenge myself and just see how I went, and that was probably the best thing I've done.
Especially with such a big catchment area, man. Like you're up against so many. Like a lot of times, there's fucking like in that age group, there's so many teams as well. You know, like there could be 4 teams in one age group and stuff like that as well.
Oh yeah,
fuck. Like
and I think like St Mary's, the junior club I played for. Like I'm pretty sure they got this year or last year like under 6s Division 8, like all in the
that's
one
insane,
club.
isn't it? It's just something you wouldn't expect to hear up this way, would you? Like teams are struggling to field one team in some of those like divisions. It's just,
but further today as well. Like in the West, that's probably pretty normal. But you go like Eastern suburbs, that'd be unheard of. Like obviously the numbers wouldn't be anywhere near as high. It's that probably that one catch.
Doesn't it just show the grassroots footy in Western Sydney is just fucking everything to these kids?
Yeah.
Like, and that's all their parents know as well. It's just everyone knows down there.
And what's the community like down there? Obviously, DK and I spoke about it pretty briefly in our About the Host episode, but what's the community like down there now? It's just footy heartland, right? Is it just through and through? And
I haven't been back there for a few years, so like I haven't really been around it too much. But yeah, when I was down there, like everyone just played footy. Like you go to school, all your mates, like a heap of my mates I played footy with went to the same school, and you're playing school footy and you're playing club footy and then you're playing rep footy, and like it's just massive footy, everything. Like even if you were no good, like you'd still playing a Thursday at school just to get out of school. Like that, and still
super blue collar, right? Like obviously, fair to say, probably talking to both of you guys here, fair to say, like lower to middle class, right? Not obviously like real hard working and grafting sort of community. So sport kind of takes a lot of pressure off everything else. So
yeah, something to look forward to.
Yeah. Okay, so up here, so let's run through that conversation with the Capras coach. So 2021, like out of the blue, where'd you get his number from? How'd that even come about? What's that?
So I did say, like, that story is 100% true. I went QRL, looked at the ladder, and then just seen Capras come last, so I Googled the Capras, got his email, like somehow.
Off the website or something maybe?
Yeah, and I just sent him an email, and then he called me like a couple of hours later. And then...
Hold on, what's your email saying? You talking about who you are, where you've been, what you've played, or?
Yeah, I just said, mate, I'm looking for an opportunity. This is where I've played. This is what I've done the last few years. I'm ready to pull my head in, sort of thing, and have a crack at it again pretty well.
From hotboyhill69@gmail.com. Who the fuck is this fuck?
Loaf of bread.
Well, let's go back. Yeah, the loaf. I like that. He's got a few good ones
I know.
that I've now heard that aren't just coming from him. He brings him to the club.
He's got a couple of great nicknames too. Yeah. You have a repertoire of nicknames.
And he embraces them.
Mate, there's one on his ass cheek too. The best one I like.
Video's on.
Pumba. Pumba on his ass cheek.
Let's go back to the Noddy story though. So what was that? Was that just you being a bit of a pisshead in your early 20s?
No. I didn't start really getting on the piss until after that. Not that I'm not an alcoholic, but
binge drinker.
Full disclaimer, Mum, I know you're watching.
Big fan of the show.
Yeah, so
love you, Vic.
So to start that year, like I played really well at the start. I got picked round 1, starting lock in the 20s, up in age sort of thing, and then played this first game. And like I'm pretty honest with myself when it comes to footy. And he had this system where after the game, you'd go in and he'd have a whiteboard, 1 to 13, score out of 10, score your own game out of 10. So everyone would have to go do that on Monday before captain's review. And then we'd go do review and he'd have all his scores there. And then when we were doing review, someone would go and write, here's his score for us out of 10 next to our score.
Right.
And so I played my first game and like I thought I went all right, played like 50 minutes or something up on the Gold Coast. And so I was like, I thought I was all right. I gave myself a 6, like solid game, come back down, my score was a 3. And I was like,
Jesus, and a 6 is conservative.
Yeah, I was like, nothing wrong, no errors, no mistakes, was like just solid. Come back and seen a 3. I was like, Played again the next week. Same sort of thing. I think I've marked myself a bit harsher because of what he was like. Yeah. And then I was like, I'll give myself a 5 and got a 3 again. I was like, fuck. And then he just was off me after that. Like the rest of the year, I might have played like another 5 or 6 games. And then
So started the second game, just quickly started the second
Yeah,
game as
yeah.
well. Okay, so you got he's giving you a 3, but he's still giving you a starting spot the second game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just in and out of the side for the rest of the year, like 18th man a heap, and then got towards the end of the year and we had this tiff at training. It was this drill, no one had done it all year. It's like this random new drill, and I was just the first bloke up to do the drill. Gone in, fucked it up, of course. And he's standing from me to DK away, and he said, "Hilly, what the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know what I'm like." No one knows what they're doing, and he just grabbed the ball from and just fucking yanked it at me. And I just went, right, I'm done. Got in the car, just walked off.
Didn't finish training?
Nah, just straight in the car. Just went home, had a big meeting with the blokes at the Tigers, and I just said, I don't want to play anymore. So
Go ahead.
How's the confidence after that, man? Like, are you feeling like, mate, that's me done? Like,
I had a manager at the time.
but
That's still good.
mainly because of who he is.
Yeah.
Like Brett Kamali.
Well, I'm glad you said it because
Like-
everyone else is. I'm sitting here going, you had the opportunity to play.
Yeah.
Fucking naughty. I'm sitting here going, I would just be going.
I mean, Melbourne Storm,
Jump how
Penrith
high,
Sharks.
right?
Yeah.
You got every right as a 20-year-old kid to go, fuck, mate, start doubting yourself.
Yeah,
You know?
no, that wasn't too bad. Like I believed in myself. But then the worst one was, so I had a manager and he's like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll sort you out another contract." He's like, because I was living in Penrith, driving to Concord, which is like 50 minutes after work every day, like
Traffic.
4 days a week.
What were we doing for work?
My apprenticeship.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was hating it. And I was just like, fuck. And then my manager at the time said, he's like, we'll get you back in at Penrith. So I got on to Penrith. And then they're like, we'll give you a training trial, but we know what you like. You've already played 20s. Like, we'll sign you a contract. We just got to get someone out, like, to fit you in. And they're like, it's all good. We know who we're getting out.
Hold on. Into what? The
Under
reserve
20s.
grade. Oh, sorry.
20s,
The
yeah, so I was still
yeah.
Sorry. And then went and trained there, was like fit as, killing the fitness and that. Went and played the first game. Thought I went all right. Monday training comes around, like might have been just before Christmas, and Cameron Serraldo's the coach, pulls me into the office and I'm going, this is all right. Like they're going to sign me into their contract, whatever. And he pulls me into the office. He's like, "Hilly, don't have room for you, mate. Off you go." And that was it.
Jeez,
that's when I was rattled then.
I'd love to know whether, like, sorry to cut you off, I'd love to know whether Noddy or Tigers, does that circulate? Do you think?
Around other clubs, sure.
And I think so. And,
They'd be
you know what I
picking
mean?
up the phone and asking questions.
100%. You know, and I think, like, you come back over, you know, obviously you're training the house down. Is he fucking picking up and ringing? Like,
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
But how much have you reflected on that now? Like, how old are you now? 28?
27.
27. So as a 27-year-old man now, have you reflected on that and gone, was I training as hard as I should have been?
Oh, no, not for me. Man, I was like the best trainer.
Yeah, well, I see you train now. Obviously, they're fortunate enough to train with you, and I see how you train now, and you kind of look at it and you think, well, I don't know, maybe you were just probably a bit heavier and didn't give a fuck as much. I don't know.
No, it was just, honestly, I think it was just, like, I had a good attitude and that. It was just, like, wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
And then, like, with the Noddy thing, like, sometimes coaches just don't like you, and that was it. Like, and to be fair, when I was going back and playing the Sydney Shield and that, like, I probably had the shit, so I probably wasn't playing as best. But, like, still when I'd go to training, I'd still rip in and all that, and then just it just all happened like that sort of thing.
that's just an experience thing. But hey, man, like these days, it'd be a totally different story for yourself, you know?
I'll chime in here as well and say, like, that's a pretty. I'm surprised you didn't know much of that story either. I think it's we look at that, and we've had some obviously decent guests on who have played some decent footy, but I hear that story and, you know, two names straight away, like Noddy and Kev Serraldo, that you've played under, and not to mention the names that you were playing with or against, like. Guys would just chomp at the bit to have that opportunity, and yeah, it's crazy. So you've picked up the phone or dialed in the email to Capras. So have they just said yes straight away based on your rap sheet and gone, yep, this guy's got the credentials that we need?
Pretty well. He actually got on the coach at the time. They had a little tie-in with Penrith. I think they sent one bloke down to Penrith to do a pre-season because they weren't affiliated with any NRL clubs. And while he sent that bloke down, he got on the phone to the recruitment manager there and had a chat, and me and the recruitment manager knew each other sort of thing, and he said, yeah, he's a good kid, whatever. He just needs a chance. So, and then that was it. They gave me a call. They sent me through the contract the next day. A lot of times they just give a training trial.
Yeah.
But they just put me on a contract straight away, which is good for the confidence. And then, went in there and just with that, just hooked in.
So what about your chat around the crew that you're with? I'm just pulling up your profile now, which I should have done with actually Marty as well. Oh, actually, a lot of his games wouldn't have been on there. You were obviously post 15.
It shows where the Capras were at that stage, man. Like they were willing to take a punt on a kid that, you know, they barely knew, but was coming out of good pedigree, you know.
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes what Penrith's doing these days as well. I think, mate, any kid that's coming out of Penrith that has played some Ron Massey, SG ball, like fucking a lot of clubs are willing to take a punt on them, knowing the system and knowing the structures down there at the moment as well.
Oh, and just even those, like the Sydney Shield, Sydney Shield's not so great, but the Ron Massey comp is like strong.
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
the BRL equivalent.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough.
Well, better I've heard. It's surely better than BRL, isn't it? I've heard.
Oh,
I think they were
it's a pretty...
On par, I'd say, mate. Yeah, because a lot of boys that go down there that don't make New South Wales Cup play that similar thing, and they go well. So
going back, there's a question I didn't ask early on, which I'm more so curious about personally. So you're getting these threes from Noddy 2 games in a row. I'm assuming you knew a lot of the boys you were playing with because obviously you would have grown up in that community. Are the other boys going to training and saying like what their scores were? Was it just a harsh critic type thing? Or
it was harsh. Like he was harsh on everyone.
Yeah.
I think the only bloke that sort of got off was Tamari Martin. He was our 6th and he was the man.
Yeah.
Like he could do whatever he wanted.
and he would have missed 10 tackles,
And
no doubt.
oh mate, but he was like
Would have been a gun back then,
Yeah, it
though,
was,
surely, for
yeah.
your age group.
he won.
Yeah.
What was it, the 5'8" of the year in the NYC 2 years in a row? Like he was untouchable.
So let's dive into your first year up here. So what was, obviously you're pretty tight with your family. That's probably one thing that we're fortunate enough to see with you and your family. What was the chat from your old man and your family about the time of you coming up here? Were they all supportive of it? Like you're obviously still at this point looking for an NRL contract, right? So one thing that I look at is I look at Capras and go, isn't this year their first year with an affiliation to an NRL team? Like so at the time, were you just looking to get notice and be around a fresh crop of boys? What was your thought process about coming up, and what was your family's thoughts on it?
I think I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone. Like my older brother had already moved to Queensland as well, and he was loving it. Like he was in Brizzy, but a bit different to Sydney. And I just wanted to test myself. Like I didn't have any expectation. Like even if I didn't get picked to start the year, I probably would have still stayed and just experienced what it was like. Being so much different from Sydney, and then just the way that I trained and whatever else, it just all sort of fell into place. Like come off the bench a couple of games and played pretty well, and then started nearly every other game.
And come up with a different, like a fresh attitude. Like obviously not knowing anyone, you had to prove yourself, right? So you weren't on the piss still. What was your?
Nah, I just got off a month in America, so like when I got back, I hadn't really trained a whole lot. But then get back into the fitness tests and stuff, and like I was sort of mid-pack. But then I think I went home over Christmas and trained every day. Come back, and like when I come back in January, I was just like, let's go. Like I can feel like I might get a sniff, so I'm gonna.
So this is
no stones.
And just looking at, for those who are watching the YouTube, obviously if you listen to the podcast, you won't see this, but I got Hilly's sort of stat sheet up. So 2018, 23 games, 5 tries, 20 out of 23 games is pretty good. So 2017, I'm assuming. So 2017 would have been the year you've come up to start the preseason.
Yeah.
You've chucked all your shit into your car and just driven up.
Yeah,
no job lined up.
Nah, nothing.
And
I had a little bit of money in the bank, like I don't know, $5,000 or something.
And what's the discussions again for 90% of people who listen to our podcast who are unaware of it? What's the conversation as soon as you get to Rocky? Are they trying to queue you up with a job, payment, like sign off? Because I'm assuming you're going there as a trainer trial, correct?
I had a contract. I think I think it might have been like 600 win, 400 loss, but you only start getting paid once you play. They'd hook me up a house, like I was straight to move into, and then the job, I sort of had to wait till I got there to go to a couple of interviews, but they'd lined a few interviews up.
But continued your apprenticeship?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And obviously, but going from New South Wales to Queensland, different probably story as well.
Yeah,
bit of a shit fight.
Different trade certificate and everything too, wouldn't it be?
Fucking shit show.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's a fucking.
That's a hell of a result. We're going on the right track here. Some good stories already. So, all right, let's just go straight into 2018 season then. So, 2017, you've come up, you've done a pre-season. I'm assuming you're feeling pretty good. You've come back in the new year for 2018. Is the coach having conversations around sort of you getting a decent spot or starting early on? When did you know that you'd sort of earned your stripes at Capras?
Yeah, so I think it was the week before the comp started. We played a couple of tries. We played the Broncos actually, like fucking Payne, Haas, Carrigan, Flegg, and they fucking towed us up. Like,
Yeah.
18-year-old kids towed us up. And then I think we had one more trial. And then they had a nines comp the week before Qcup started. And the coach sent a message to all the boys, and he said, if you want to get a bit of extra fitness, I'll put you into a team in this nines comp. And so I messaged him and I said, hey, mate, like, keen to get a bit of extra fitness. Can I play? And he's like, no, you're going to be in my round one side.
Ooh,
so I was
nice.
like, oh, sweet. Like,
Yeah.
And then, that come around, and I think it was off the bench. Man, you should have seen this side. We played round one, East Tigers up in Rocky. Brandon Smith, Scott Drinkwater, Dave Tyrrell, like
Holy.
one of the Kafusi boys. I'm just like walking out like
Paddy Kafusi, I think.
No, I think.
No, not
I
for
know,
Leeds.
so no, yeah,
Paddy.
Paddy was down there for a season.
Yeah,
too,
gotcha.
Yeah.
and I was just like walked out and I was like,
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for coming.
so and then we ended up winning that game. We beat them with a team of like nobodies
Yeah,
really.
kids.
And then we didn't really win.
Are you starting lock in that position too?
No, I come off the bench.
Yeah.
I was only going to play, I think, 20 minutes either side of half time sort of thing. And then someone got injured. I went on after 20 and stayed on. And the same thing happened the next week. Went on after 20, stayed on the rest of the game. And then I think I pretty much started.
And I think like obviously
And then,
from your, like, I don't know, who was your coach, Lionel at the time?
nah, Kim Williams.
Kim Williams.
Great coach too.
Mate, I think looking at your body shape, I think a lot of coaches go, wow, that's the idea. 20 minutes either side, that's all this bloke's got. But
Yeah, there's more
little
gas
people
in the
know,
tank.
like, mate,
Yeah.
I've played with you for a long time now. You have got an ordinary rig at best, but you're as strong as an ox, and you've got a fucking bigger motor than 98% of blokes in this comp, apart from backs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's hard to watch, and it's frustrating to watch, probably from other forwards' point of view, and go fuck. But mate, do they start realising, Jesus, what do we got on our hands here? Like,
I think, there might have been a training session in there. I think I won the 1.2 or something, and like a few of the other forwards come up to me just going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I could still
For the whole squad. 1.2 for the whole squad.
you're unassuming to say the least.
Body like a dog's breakfast, like proper shit rig.
And could put away the piss.
Yeah,
Like,
just like I've always just been a good runner for some reason,
Yeah.
and fit. Always stayed fit. Like I used to go for road runs back in the day at home and just maintain that sort of thing.
Can I pull you up on that? The other day you sent to our group chat. Did you run 20K?
15.
15K?
15 still.
16K the other day, bro. Like,
I'll be lucky getting 5 out.
mate, we've been, like, a few boys been banging 5s out. I banged like a 4.5 out, and I was like, yeah, big dog. And then Hilly bangs a 16 out.
Mate, you're almost 32.
You're kidding me, aren't you?
So, well, you look at it. Obviously, you've got in there. Who, out of curiosity, who was any ex-NRL players running around that Capra
Dave
side?
Taylor.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
At what?
He was me roommate.
The freight
Oh,
train.
get
out
the
of
coal
town.
train,
Yeah.
sorry.
Fucking
Mate,
hell.
So that week when we went to
I remember the year he went up. It was his first year there.
Yeah.
160 fucking, what was it, 140 kilos.
It's about $140. Yeah. So that weekend when the coach texted me and said, you can't play in the nines, you're playing next week,
Yeah.
whatever. All the boys that weren't playing in the nines that were going to play round one, we all got on the piss and went to the nines. Anyway, me and Dave, the last men standing, and he's like, let's go down to some other place. In Rocky, Reece Westers from Rocky. And I grew up supporting Penrith.
Yeah.
I'm on the piss with Reece Wester. And
Get
Dave.
out.
Just going, what the fuck is going on? Best night of my life.
Sent a photo of the old boy.
Yeah, I did. I've probably still got it, actually. And then, room with him for the rest of the year. That was an experience.
I think, what did he play full season though? I thought he got, I remember there was a lot of photos getting around the Courier Mail and shit around big coal train back
God,
then.
he was a pie cut.
No, he played the full first year and then he started doing the preseason at the second year and just went, nah.
Nah, too much.
It ain't
Done.
enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, look, 30%, sorry to highlight it, but it gets worse as we go down the list here. But 30% win rate. So, what was the chat around your the coaching staff of, mate, 5 tries? I don't think I've ever seen you score 5 tries in a season, have I?
I think I scored 12 last year.
Oh.
Fact check, please.
But in a losing side, let's look at that. So you obviously, I won't go into the details of how many games because obviously most people are listening on the podcast, so I don't want to ruin it having the visual show here. But 23 games, 5 tries, 7 wins, 16 losses, 30% win rate. So obviously you've gone up there and done a job, and obviously as we said before, you've gone up to a losing side or guys who are at the bottom of the ladder. What's the conversations at this point? Like, have you got guys, again, coming up to you going, hey, mate, like the way you're playing, keep going the way you are. You know, we've got some tabs on you. What's the conversation after your first season at Capras?
Yeah, it was, they just sort of tied in a link with the Broncos at that time. And I'd signed a contract that said if they can get this up across the line, like they'll send me down for a pre-season. But something happened and it fell through. So like I was playing well. I won Players Player and Rookie of the Year or something like back then.
Yeah, that's good.
And then I think I had a couple of offers to go elsewhere, like maybe Mackay and stuff. But I was like already pretty settled in Rocky, so I was like, I'll just give this another year here. Like caught wind that we'd had a few good signings coming up and whatever else, and I think they just sort of fell through. Like Aaron Penne come up, he's playing for Melbourne now.
Yeah.
Eddie Pettybourne.
Bloody international Eddie Pettybourne.
Yeah,
God, he was
USA, didn't he?
They just
USA.
Yeah, no, he was.
Is he not?
He did.
He's
No,
a
he
fucking.
did.
He's a USA.
No, he did, yes.
He did.
Yeah. No, I'm just because I'm thinking Matt Peterson, I think, played as well, the curly.
Yeah, here's Ocho Bob.
Played for Gympie. Shout out to Gympie Devils. Damien Ford Hale, thank you very much. Beautiful.
Okay. So following on from that. So obviously So what's the chat after the 2018 season?
Oh, yeah, they were keen as to keep me on board.
Yeah.
Then the contract got a bit of an upgrade, and
I was about to say pay rise.
Yeah. And then
give us some. I didn't want to talk too much about this to the other boys that have played some cup level, but I'm sure you couldn't give two shits. What are we talking here? What's an upgrade look like from 600 and 400 for a win and loss? What's an upgrade look like the following season?
It wasn't stupid. I think I got a sign on. It might have been like $5,000, and then I think it might have went to. I think I was fucking smart enough to go flat rate. The next year,
per game,
I didn't
per
go
game.
win loss. I just went flat rate.
Smart.
It might have been
So 600.
yeah,
Even itself
maybe,
out a bit.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
I can't really remember. It was a while ago now, but
I think chatting to like Bakes and Whitey, like when they were on pretty much base rate coming out of coming out of 21s and that, maybe around that 650, 700, and that was base.
okay.
Like, so that was going all right. Yeah,
Well, that's
but
not bad.
obviously
You
a
go-
few years later, obviously than yourself.
But you rewind to 2018, right?
was-
If you're at $1,000 a week, mate, you're probably living pretty comfortably as what, a 22-year-old?
yeah, it was
Right,
22.
18, yeah.
So going on to 19. 19 looked like a pretty dismal season for the poor Capras.
Mighty
What's
Capras.
your take there, mate? 23 games, 1 try,
Injuries.
win ratio of 4%. How many wins is that? One win, 21
And it
losses.
was round one.
Yeah,
It
right.
was
Who'd you
round
play?
one. CS Logan.
And we're talking,
That's a decent win.
obviously off air, we're talking, what do you think players-wise you use that year? It was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Oh, the number of
it was
players?
it was over 40, easy. It was
In a
crazy.
Qcup side.
Yeah, man. It was like we're dead set bringing blokes that hadn't trained all year out of A grade. It was
Yeah, right.
insane.
And what's the A-grade comp like in Rocky?
Well, not many teams,
not-
right?
not as good.
They play like a 6-team A grade competition, correct?
I think it varies every year because
Yeah,
like
okay.
sometimes they bring Gladstone sides in and
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
they don't. And I think 6 to 8 most
Yeah,
of the
okay.
time. Yeah. But I don't think it's quite as strong as like the Sunny Coast.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, how was your footy that year, personally? Eating plenty of fucking steak, surely, being in Rocky.
I think
Beef capital.
I think I topped the tackle count because we didn't have fucking much
You would have
ball.
had to.
We had no ball all year, so I think I topped.
What are you playing? So you're playing lock in that both
Yeah.
years?
Yeah.
Okay. And what, 60, 70 minutes?
I was playing 80 every game in the
Fuck.
second year. It was
Yeah,
tough.
okay. Yeah,
Just
tough
getting
going.
absolutely belted.
Touching on that, Hilly, man, you mentioned off air, mate, growing up, you'd never lost fuck all games at footy. You're in a great system, you're in a great club, it's some really good blokes with like rep sides playing for junior football. How's your mentality when you're losing every game bar one? Like, is it just, I've had enough, when's the season done? Like, what are you feeling, man? Like,
Yeah, it was tough. It sort of got a bit like that. Like towards the end of the year, I sort of started putting the feelers out to
Yeah.
go elsewhere just because I couldn't really see how. Like they hadn't announced any signings that were going to come. There was no talk of anyone coming or anything like that, and I was just like, "Fuck!"
So-
if I want to get somewhere, I can't stay here.
agreed.
So,
When you say elsewhere, you're talking other Qcup sides, or you think about going back home?
no, I was always going to stay in Queensland.
Yeah.
I just liked it up here. And then, we played a game out at Longreach. They do that country round. And
Yeah.
we versed Tweed, and I just got talking to Wolfie, their Tweed coach at the time, and just got his number. And he said, mate, if you want to come down, like, give us a call later on in the year. And I just went, I can't stay here. I need to, if I'm going to try and do something, I've got to go. So.
And is that you going up to him, or are coaches coming up to you by this stage? Been probably standout in a losing side.
It's a pretty tight circle. Like everyone sort of knows
Once you're in
everyone.
it.
Yeah. So like you speak to a few people and whatever. But I didn't have a manager at that point. I was just doing it all myself. So
Yeah.
if I had a good relationship with someone and I could trust them, I'd just take their word, and that's what happened with.
But were you going out of your way to kind of meet other players and other coaches and
Nah,
stuff?
that just happened after we versed them. I just had a chat and he's.
Surely there wouldn't be too many blokes getting around in Qcup level these days. They've got managers, though, right? I guess as a young fella, you probably do, just because that's what they tell you to do. But
you'd like to know whether out of 21s, whether they're getting thrusting to getting a manager, like you're going well, then all of a sudden you're at the bottom tier of the Qcup and it's like, what am I paying this bloke for? I don't really need it. Probably a weird little situation. I don't only imagine, fuck mate, that tough year, it would be hard to get picked up out of Rocky. There wouldn't be many coaches going.
Well, they wouldn't be going out of their way to watch the games.
Not really. Yeah, I'd agree.
And to be fair, like I just said, like I think I topped the tackle count in the comp, but fuck, I was missing plenty too.
Yeah,
like, I wasn't playing great because I was so tired. Like,
yeah.
It was tough.
So 2020, obviously we can go straight to that then. Obviously you had a chat to the Tweed coach. Who was that, sorry?
Ben Wolf. Yeah.
Okay,
I think he's down with the Dragons now.
So you've had a chat to him, obviously after the country round. What round are we talking about in the 2019 season was that?
It was towards the end. It was like 18, 19.
So you're already looking at options.
Yeah.
And so as following on from what DK was saying, obviously how's your headspace at this point? Obviously you've moved out of area. You probably don't know too many blokes. You're obviously in your second season, so you've started creating some mates and whatever else. But like you're still 22, 23 right at this point. So how's the headspace? Are you looking at it still going, NRL still on the cards?
Yeah, sort of slowly starting to fade. But like that was my thought process. Like if I don't get out now, like it's probably
done.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had to, coming off the back of two all right seasons, I thought, yeah, if I don't go now, if I put one more good year in at Tweed, in a side that's going a bit better, like it'll be a bit easier to get picked up.
Noticed.
And then COVID just fucking ran.
So yeah, 2020. So talk us through that. It's obviously one game, one win. But what have you done? You've packed up the ute again.
Yeah.
Moved straight down. You have accommodation and a gig lined up, a job lined up.
Yeah, I had a job, teacher's aide.
Yeah, right.
Went into a teacher's aide.
That would have been all right.
What a gig.
And then I think I was there for about a week, and there was these Sparkies putting solar on the roof, and I just said, "You blokes looking for workers?" And he said, "Yep." I was talking to the boss and started the next week. And then, finished my apprenticeship that year. So
let's go into the payment thing again, more so from a curiosity level. And I know you'll tell me, but Tweed. So was Tweed giving you an upgrade from what you're on at Capras?
I think it was the same.
Same. Okay, so 600.
But I wasn't even like I dead set took the first offer that they gave me.
Yeah,
I
just wanted to get out. Yeah, it didn't matter. It wasn't a money conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry. What happened in 2020? What was what happened? COVID. No, but it was So we got one game in.
Mate, man. They just
canned it. Canned the whole season.
A grade.
Yeah.
I think at the time, obviously, the local A grade and reserve grade, correct me wrong, we were training and obviously we'd heard it. But I think Qcup starts a lot earlier than obviously the local league. So they got that one game in. It was just an absolute shit show.
I still remember our last training session. We did
on the Saturday?
We did a full session thinking that we were playing that. Yeah, Sammy's follows here as well. We did a full session in the fucking heat. And then we found out after the training session.
Well, luckily we had the GOAT obviously hooked up with Queensland government, DG.
Yeah.
He'd had a phone call.
Was that not the next year when we were there?
I think it happened. It might happen
twice.
Twice.
Okay.
It was just a bad time.
So Tweed 2020, obviously you're getting to the age now, and again, I'm just throwing numbers out, 23, 24, right? So, and I'm saying this more so because you and I had a conversation, and I don't know if you remember it or not, but we had a conversation when you went back to Capras about one red hot season of having a crack age-wise and when you're going to make it or not. So Tweed, how'd you end up at fucking Beerwah after the COVID year?
What happened? We
Hold on, is your family up by this stage?
No,
they're still.
So I was living on the border, Queensland New South Wales border. I was living in New South Wales, so I couldn't get over to Queensland to work like every day, sort of thing.
Right.
So I started like burning through me money, the little savings that I had because I just got back from Europe, so I didn't have a heap of money. So I started burning through that, and then I seen an ad on Facebook. Beerwah, and it was Sunny
Was
Coast.
Meadsy still there at that point?
Yeah, I think
okay, so
yeah.
Meadsy's probably plugging this, trying to get players in.
And so I just seen that and then reached out and he got talking to Meadsy.
Where was the ad on Facebook? Was it like a footy community page or was it just...
I think it was Sharma.
Oh, yeah, Sharma, yeah, of course, yeah.
It's just following him and seeing that and then, just reached out and they said, good paying job, and I was just like, fuck, like I had like $1,000 left in my name. I was like, fuck, I need to start getting some money again. So I was like, and my older brother had moved up to Qcup, so
from Brisbane.
Yeah, so he'd moved up here. So I was like, oh well,
you recognised it. Yeah, it's close to home.
Yeah, then bunkered in with him and his wife for a couple of weeks, and then got our own place and got.
Where was the job thing then? Did Meadsy queue up with a job?
Yeah, Stevie Ray.
Ah, of course.
I was working on the freeway.
That's right. Yeah. So got a job, obviously working civil.
Yeah.
And obviously promised fucking obviously what do you get? Can we go there? What have doggies paid you that year?
So I got.
Because you were coming
when I
with
spoke to Meadsy, I
want to pre-frame this. So I didn't interrupt you. I want to pre-frame this by saying probably the most credentialed player outside Grant Young that's probably ever come to our club.
Yeah, I'd say. Yep.
Fair. So, and fuck knows what we played.
Oh, there was a bloke called Wade Rothery back in the day. He was pretty good too. Yeah.
So
they're from Rocky.
Yeah.
What's the conversation around that? Around you coming to play for Beerwah?
Oh, it was
you knew nothing about the club, obviously. You knew nothing about the history. You knew we hadn't won a grand final.
That was it. That's all I knew.
Yeah. Oh, you knew we had won an A-grade grand final.
Yeah,
okay, sweet.
And then...
you still came?
Yeah, Meadsy, I was on the phone to him and I was on loudspeaker in front of my ex-partner at the time.
Yeah.
$300 a game. I was like, oh, that's all right. Yeah, I can work with that, with a job that pays all right.
Half of what DK gets, that's not bad.
That'll save us. Be able to save some money, whatever. Get up there and then just go to sign a contract, whatever. And I was like, $100 a game. I was like... Fuck you talking about? Like, this is what we agreed. And he's like, yeah, we spoke about it on the phone. And I was like, nah, I'm not signing that. And then I think it worked out. I think they might have given me $1,000 and then $100 a game.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't. But fuck it.
But how many training sessions have you done by this point? None.
Oh, nah. This was like just before the season was about to start. So probably
you bought into the culture and shit pretty quickly.
But by that time, I was already like,
you were there.
Met all the boys and
you
was
had
having
a
a
job.
good time.
Yeah.
It seemed a bit of a thing that boys were coming for. No one knew what they were coming for.
Well, there was a few boys announced on Facebook that year too. And I think about 4 of them came. There was about 20 announced.
Me and Hilly had some conversations, and he told me about some money. I was like, "Oh, fucking what?"
Yeah. I don't think you were getting paid per game at this point, were you?
I think I might have went back and captain coach reserve grade at the time as well.
No, you guys played a year together before you came back, didn't you?
No.
Oh, you came straight back that year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably pretty good. Well, at least you replace yourself with an ex-Qcup player.
Replace myself. You replace me.
Okay, let's dive into that, and I'll probably hit you between the eyes a bit here because there was a lot of talk about this Jamie Hill bloke coming in and fucking this little 85 kilo fucking reserve grade player who just loves the club. I was looking around going, all right, this guy,
Eagle.
where I didn't say C grader. I'm looking at him going, this bloke's all right. But we had a few chats, and I think you fit into the culture pretty quickly, and I think you just love the piss like most people west of the Bruce Highway do. But how do you think you went that season, the first year at Beerwah?
Personally? Oh, not too. Oh, like I'd have a good game every now and again, but
not your best season.
No, because I sort of played local A-grade when I was 17. And then I hadn't played local A-grade since until I went to the Gold Coast. But when I was on the Gold Coast in that COVID year, all the Qcup players dropped back, so the standard was like crazy high. And then I come up here and I was like, oh, this is A-grade. And like, I just found it hard to like get my timing right and just little things like that. And so I couldn't really get into it so much. I didn't play shit, but definitely didn't stand out like I probably should have.
Mind you as well, we probably had that year
a really good football team as well.
But it was you probably didn't. It was probably hard to stand out. Is what I'm saying. It was probably hard. Like you didn't really need to be the 18, 19
ATG as well. Like there was some good forward pack as well, bro. Maliko. Like there was some hard hitters there. Obviously.
Yeah, but you would have probably been looking around that stage, going, "Well, I've probably signed for a decent club." Like that was arguably. Probably one of the best squads, probably the second best squad we've ever had, if not the best at the time. Despite obviously winning last season, it was a red hot squad we had. So obviously you've probably found your home pretty quickly at Beerwah, going, well, good bunch of blokes, you know, love the piss, love the Thursday fucking couple of cartons or whatever else.
I'll take you to the game that obviously, I think it was the semi-final at Caloundra that against Maroochydore. Beerwah lost that night. Probably should have went on to play a GF and potentially win the GF that night. And I think myself and Deej were obviously doing the backup thing from reserve grade to A grade. That was the deal with Meadsy. If we were going to go back and play reserve grade, we had to back up.
When Das had taken over.
Yeah, but Das had taken over. That was the
Meadsy
deal with Meadsy.
Meadsy left halfway through the season.
You weren't allowed to play reserve grade unless you had to back up, you and Deej. So Das had took over, and I remember I got injured and Deej backed up, but Nudo had a broken arm. The side was pretty busted.
Yeah.
And, mate, there's one Gary Grice, BY legend, still to this day, just swears by it that the best performance in a BI jersey he's ever seen was Jamie Hill that night. Like 80 minutes, and he reckons, mate, it would have been 200 plus metres, 50 plus tackles, just the best player on the field, but still couldn't get the job done for Beerwah. And I swear to God, like, man, I take this for gospel. What he says, he's a hard
100%.
man. Redcliffe, fucking like he was a good footy player, good coach, good bloke. Just still says, mate, best performance I've ever seen in the Beerwah jersey. Jamie Hill that night in a losing football team.
And further to that, Hilly, as well, a bloke that's been around that club for an absolute fucking lifetime and seen a lot of good players come.
And I think it just goes to show, like, maybe some of Hilly's best football comes when his back's against the wall. You know, there's just that hard of a line. I don't care what I look like or be like. I'll still, you know, just a pit bull. You know.
Well, I want to talk about that because
you got a pin? Pop me head.
It's huge. Das is listening.
You know what? It's probably one bloke that we can.
You're allowed to get it. It's your podcast.
Yeah, it's your episode, mate.
That's right.
But we can
it's
also,
about us.
To be fair, we can blow smoke up the bloke's ass. You're not as egocentric as some blokes. But I want to talk about that. So we won't talk so much about that 2021 season because we're not trying to fucking boast about Beerwah. We want to talk about you, and then we'll get into 2024. But I remember sitting at Silly Sunday or Mad Monday, either or, around this is after your first season in the club, and I said to you, and you told me a bit of your story because I'm just more so curious a lot of the time and to know where people have been and what they're up to and whatever else. And we sat down, we're sitting by the fire out the back. I remember very clearly we're sitting on a couple of pieces of logs or whatever. And I said, mate, what are you, like you're 24, 25 at this point. I said, mate, have you got one last crack in you to go for NRL? And you said, it's funny you actually say that. I'm actually looking to go back to Capras next season. And I don't know if you'd signed at that point.
No, I
hadn't signed yet, but the conversations had started before the end of the A-grade season that year. Yeah. And I don't know how many people you told. And I think you and I were pretty close by then. And I remember saying to you clearly, I'm like, mate, once you hit 25, 26, let's face it, you're not fucking probably – there's maybe few and far between. There's a couple of boys that have probably gone on to play NRL after 25, 26. But I remember saying to him, like, mate, you've done – the world of good for this club in that season. And I said, mate, I'll back you 100%. Just fucking go for it. So going back, how'd that all come about? So you've obviously had the A-grade season at Beerwah. How'd that all come about then? Are you laughing because we're still blowing smoke up?
No, because I wanted to tell the story. Yeah. I was sitting next to it.
So we're at day 2. I'd gone home.
Day 2 is better than day 1.
Mad Monday. Gone back around to pick me gear up from Nudo's place. And there was a couple of the boys.
Oh, I know this story now. Yeah.
Still on the piss. And
I scratched my bear in
I've gone to go and pick me kit up that I've worn the night before, whatever. Oh, Ellie, come in and have one beer. Righto. 2 beers. Righto. All right, I'm staying. Go and get a carton. We're in. Sun starts setting. Beerwah, Glasshouse Mountains, nice and picturesque. Sitting on the roof. My phone starts ringing. The CEO of the Capras.
What time is it? About 5:30, 6 o'clock, right? Yeah.
Hilly, what are you doing?
We happen to be using Hilly's phone.
No, hold on. I think this is day 3. This isn't day 2.
No, it was day 3.
It was day 3. This is day 3. This is Monday at about 5:30 p.m. Right? Yeah. I think I bailed out about 4:30.
Yeah,
because I was just on the phone and he called me, the Capras CEO, and he's like, Hilly, do you want to come back? Blah blah blah. I said, mate, I'm not in any state to talk dollars and cents right now, but I'm pretty keen. I'll get back to you in a couple of days. And then, that was it. Just went, fuck, I want to have one more crack, and off I went.
So he'd obviously been watching your games, or he was just short on players?
No, they'd started recruiting pretty well. That's when Lionel took over, and I'd been in contact with him. He wanted me to come back. And
there was a couple of players that, how many players?
He signed Lino too, but then Lino didn't want to leave his family.
Oh.
So, that's how it all come about, because he was asking me, like, I was sort of like
thoughts on Lino?
I was sort of eyes down here for him, like, if you sort of thing. And then he's like, well, what do you reckon about coming back? And I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Think about it. And then
shows the impression you made up there, man.
Yeah.
Like, the coaches have to rely on your ability, like, obviously, your workhorse attitude and whatever else, and your honest opinion.
How many players still getting around? Because who's the captain at Capras?
Mad Dog Madden.
Madden, yeah, that's right. So he was there. He's been there for a fucking lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, so how many other players were around from the 20? What was your last season? That 2019, right?
I want to say 5 tops.
Okay.
Oof. Is Mad Dog Madden a 40-20? Is he 20 that looks 40, or just
he's gonna be old? No, he's
70-20.
Oh, how old is he?
He's
actually
30,
old.
He's 31.
Oh,
yeah, he's been this year, I think.
He'd had the most. Is he most capped up there? How many games has he played?
Guy Williams would be.
Oh,
He played a couple of games NRL for the
I love his name's Mad Dog too. Just Mad Dog. I like it. Mad Dog and life.
A bit like Jordan Bulldog Cox. Fuck, you better be listening. Yeah, mate. I'll jump in here. We'll blow smoke for one last time, mate. Fucking hell, we were pretty invested. Like, I've never really watched that much Cup personally, but obviously once we knew you, we were pretty invested in it, mate. Probably the best season of footy that I think you've ever played in your entire life that year. Going back, what was your thought process? Like, was it a crack at NRL? Was it one last dig and go, get me a fucking contract? If it doesn't work, then I'm coming back. What was your thought process about going back up?
Yeah, I think it was that. And then, like, I just went there and I just, like, started ripping in again. Like, when I knew I was going, I just started training, like, proper. And then I got up there and the coach said to me, he's like, Hilly, hubby started last year. Like, I know you want to play lock. He started lock last year. And I just said, that's sweet. I'll earn
my spot.
I'll earn it. It's all good. And then just ripped in, played well in the trials, started round one, and then...
Started round one at lock?
Yeah. And then started the whole year. And then... Yeah,
how many minutes you playing, just quickly?
Lowered the workload a bit. I think I was playing about 60 every game that year, but that allowed me to be better because I didn't have to fucking worry about tackling and everything all the time.
Ball playing was better.
Yeah, and I was doing a lot more. We played a totally different structure, so it, like, just suited me really well. And Lionel was, like, such a good coach, like, just sort of give you the freedom to do whatever you want. He'd pull you up if you fucked up, but backed you. So that was good for me because I like to play footy confidently and just back my instinct sort of thing. So that was good. And then,
made top four that year?
Then we lost the last game and we come fifth. But then we had probably the greatest game I've ever played in. At Brown Park, we were losing 22-0 at half time. And we come back and win 30-22 against the Pride up there. And then lost to Burleigh the following week.
I think Wrighton was on the wall. Like, it was going to be a tough one after that.
But then, so that's a good segue, actually, leading back into why I come back down. So we lost to Burleigh. The boys are playing the grand final for Beerwah against Maroochydore. 2022.
Yeah.
When they lost. And we finished, I don't know, 6:30, 7, whatever, and the boys had half an hour to go in their game. So I'm sitting in the sheds on my phone. They got the CEOs talking, the coaches talking, everyone how good the year was, this and that, and I'm just fucking on my phone.
You know where the heart is.
Just watching. And, like, when I started watching, the boys were ahead, and then the last 10 minutes happened. I just went, fuck, like, my heart broke into so many pieces. Like, I was so devo. And then I sat down there and I was like sitting next to the coach and, like, everyone's sort of upset, whatever. And I just went, I'm going home. Like, he's like,
the heart's not there.
He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm going home. Oh, why? I said, I just have to.
There's a job to be done.
Yeah, I feel like I have to go back. And that was it.
And I don't know why this is, man. And it's, fuck, man, it's fuck.
Tingles.
So,
bro,
it's crazy.
Tingles,
yeah,
man.
this is
Well, he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand.
This next whatever it is hour is going to be fucking awesome because, like, mate, I don't know what it is. Like, there's a lot of people that gravitate to Beerwah and our community out there from Western Sydney. I don't know whether it's a community vibe, whether it's a, you know, our club's a bit more like
it's old school.
Where we
old
spoke,
school,
we try and look after each other.
Yeah.
It's not a, you know, it's not we're pitting each other against each other. Like, we're not putting money against other money. It's like, right, you're all on this money. Fucking, the beers are free. This bloke's fucking helping this bloke out. Or, do you need a job? We'll get you a job. You know, it's just a mate versus mate kind of mentality. But pull you back to that year, Hilly. What are some of the best, I think it's helped a lot of the young fellas, like some of the best scenes for blokes. We play on a Saturday, which we usually play on a Saturday. On a Sunday, we got to watch Jamie Hill play for Capras. So everyone's like, how do we do that? Right, fucking $37.65. You can buy a Qcup fucking card. It wasn't that much.
I fucking paid that back about 10 times too.
No, it was about $6. But, like, everyone had one. But I can remember my wife. I'd have the computer with the HDMI cable plugged in. Who are we watching? And I'm like, oh, it's Hilly. And
I don't know anyone else. I'm just watching 13.
Well, we knew Butsy, his mate, because he kept saying he's loose as fuck. Watch this big guy. Mate, even my young, what are we watching, Dad? It's Hilly. Which number is he? He's 13. Yeah. It's just like, mate, and it was so good. It was nearly as close as getting to watch one of your mates play NRL.
100%.
Like we watch Reedy, you know, and we love Reedy as well.
Agreed. I don't think 99% of players and people at the club at that point had never watched a fucking single Qcup.
No, never.
Yeah.
And then they watched 23 games in one season, and then have never watched it again since Hilly's gone. But he bought into it. He bought into the culture.
Such as, like, my mates down here. Like, I'm going to work at 6 o'clock on a Monday morning after playing on a Sunday night. I got fucking 4 phone calls in a half an hour drive as I'm going to work. You fucking did this.
Yeah.
And what were you thinking here? But I've got review before I've gone to review. It's like,
You don't need
such
review.
are my mates.
Oh, fucking Das ain't watching fucking tape anyway, so doesn't matter.
It's a great example of like a small community buying into, someone else buying into the small community, because that small community will buy into you.
But we don't get much. And I think when Grant Young was there, probably 80% of the listeners wouldn't even know who Grant Young is, but when Grant Young was there, I remember pretty clearly, when you get someone who wants to play for the club and buys into the culture of it, mate, we'll take in open arms and we'll bend over backwards. We'll fucking give you our last dollar if we need to keep you there and keep you happy. And I think it's, we're pretty biased of it, DK, about our club and how the camaraderie and culture is. But hopefully by having Hilly here, he can probably express the culture and the sort of attitude that we have around the club. But so I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I haven't had that conversation with you about you sitting in the sheds after the game and you're watching our semi-final. So you knew through and through right then. Obviously, I'm assuming they've already offered you a contract for the following year, Capras. Because were you not best and fairest that fucking year? Like you played through.
I played pretty well, but
Yeah.
don't really play for awards. But
You call Noddy and say, mate, have you been watching my games?
never speaking to that cunt again. Anyway, I went all right, and then they started getting a bit of whispers about who was going down to the Dolphins and that before the last few games, and the other 2 front rowers were going down, Butsy and Zep, 2 of me good mates, and then I was just like, fuck, if they're going, like I'm not going, sort of thing. So I'd made my mind up then already, and then he tried to give me a mad increase in the contract, and I was just like, nah, like I'm not playing for money anymore. Like, not that I ever did, but
What are we talking, double? Close to?
yeah.
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 It was good. Yeah, and I just went
So that's a not really needing to work kind of.
during the
contract.
season, probably
Yeah.
not. No,
Yeah, that's right.
But I was just like, if I'm playing for money, like I'm doing it for the wrong reason. And then like Blake was up,
Yep.
Das was up, and like something we spoke about growing up was like, how good would it be to
Playing
play
together.
together? Never thought it'd happen because Matt had fucked off to Queensland, I'd fucked off. Dad stopped coaching early 2000s, and then it was weird how it all happened. Like we all just like come back together, and then I was just like, fuck, I'm not missing that opportunity.
Well, in the club, DK, you can probably allude to this further if you want, but the club probably needed all 4 of you guys at that point, right, as well. I think obviously we needed a coach. You were probably too young to step up at that point as a coaching type role.
Well-
Das had the sort of a bit of a decent rap sheet, and we were probably lacking some middles, right?
Well,
I think you and Nudo were playing.
No, well, Das coached. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, Das coached the year before when we were up there. But it probably, and we can say yes or no whether you want to go down that road. Do you want to go down the road that I'm talking about that we spoke about privately,
Jackson CC.
like the leaving up north and that?
Oh, if you want, yeah, that's
Yeah, like I think it's there's plenty in there, mate. I think it's worth touching on because we've had like Seaton Reid on, and right now, just a disclaimer, we're probably going to touch on a bit of mental health issues and stuff like that, mate. I think it's very important that what we're doing, we talk about this stuff, and JB's really good at obviously voicing his opinion and probably leading a conversation about this as well. Like while you're up there, Hilly, I remember when you were at Capras, obviously I'll let you elaborate a bit more if you'd like, but obviously bought your first house up there with your ex and that, and things probably weren't going to plan, like you were saying. Like I remember, man, I was talking to you, I was sitting out in front of the primary school, picking my kids up and talking to you and making sure you were sweet, and probably didn't think you were doing too well, and just checking up on you. And man, I think a lot of boys were probably just concerned about your mental health up there, because at the time, like I think, like you were saying, footy is so important, but man, like your family, the people that love you around you, like we were trying to put a support system around you as well. And how are you going up there at that time? You were playing good footy, but that would have been the toughest part, because you found yourself playing the career best footy easily, and then you found yourself, fuck, I'm fucking falling down a rabbit hole here. Like, where's the balance going, Yeah,
it was tough. Like, I think writing was probably on the wall for a little bit, so like it sort of come to terms with it. So I think the whole thing, just being around the footy boys and that, like I'm pretty open and honest about everything. So I just went straight to him and just said, look, if I'm a bit off, like this is why. Whatever, went and told the coach straight away. I said, if I'm a bit off, this is why. I said, I'm still going to come to training. Like, don't have to worry about me not being here or whatever. I said, I'm sweet. Like, this is my escape, coming here and doing this. And I think, like, probably ended up making me play a bit better. Like,
Switch off.
Like, yeah,
right?
just like not thinking about
Footy's your
nothing.
escape.
And
Well,
then,
to pull you up there, cheers, Sammy Fullerton. You were top 3 in the Petro 77 medal, which for what people listening, not watching or anything, that's the top 3 in the Qcup. So if you're in the top 3 in the Qcup halfway through the year, you're fucking playing good footy, you know, and like testament to obviously your mental and your attitude at that point. You're playing fucking great football in what's going on behind the scenes as well, you know. Like, mate, feel free to say what you will. We can push past this, but say whatever you want, mate. We'll run with it.
yeah, no, that was it. Like, just talking to, you know, like yourself and Kev and some of my good mates, like, shit happens. Like
Stephen Buckley, for those who don't know Kev.
Yeah, Kev. Fucking fat chock. Shout out to fat chock.
Light the moment. Thank you.
Yeah, those sort of boys, you know, the boys helped me through, and talking to mum and dad all the time, like, yeah, it wasn't easy, but I was playing good footy, mate. I think if I was playing shit, fuck, I would have really struggled, but like I was doing all right, so I was doing all right, so. And then obviously that played a part in, like, I didn't want to stay up there. Like, I just wanted to come back home, be around friends and family, and then come back to Beerwah as well, like, more positives than anything.
You say it wasn't so much about money anymore, but I feel like it wasn't even about footy anymore.
No,
like, I feel like it was just about Hilly just getting to a point of his life and maybe a bit of a crossroads, right? We see it all the time with, like, guys, obviously we're probably fortunate enough to be a little bit older, and we see it all the time with guys like yourself and go, you just want to enjoy it, right? And we're just glad that we can play a part in that. But it sounds as though it would just come back, because your family, obviously, I guess for the record, for people listening and watching, your family had completely moved up by then, right?
Yeah.
So your brother was up, your mum and dad were up.
Yeah.
And obviously you'd moved away the following year.
Yeah, so as soon as they come up, I fucked off. Like, there was no overlap.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like a month I left, and then they got here. And then when Blake come, like, that was honestly like a massive thing, like, because we'd never played together. And like, I moved when I was 21 to Rocky, and that's like when Blake sort of started developing as a footy player. And like, I never really got to watch, like, you know, he's making his first like rep sides and shit like that. And so I was like, fuck, how good would it be just to like play with your brother? And then the way it turned out, I'm 5 years older than him, and I'm making him take kickoffs. I'm a bit of a bitch like that, but he's just going, fuck it. Like,
He's a bit of a cat too on the kickoff, isn't he? I wanted to touch on further on what DK was talking about, Hilly, if you don't mind, because we did allude to it a little bit with the Cedo episode, and I think there's a lot of not to blow up our platform. It's a pretty small platform, but I think if we're not trying to do something decent with the platform, we're probably wasting our time. And I think we spoke a little bit, Hilly, about like the mental health battles you had while you're up there. So, like, what were you going through then? And obviously you're pretty good now. Like, obviously we're decent mates now. We go for beers and whatever else. So you seem pretty good now. So what got you through that? What was going on at that point, and what got you through it?
Yeah, so I'd split up with my partner at the time. We'd bought a house together probably 6 months earlier. And then, yeah, just the footy and everything else, like, sort of helped me get through. I had a bit of time to myself. Like, I ended up living by myself for about 6 months. So just sort of worked through that, just doing things like going to training and finding things to enjoy, like playing golf and just little things like that. And then, yeah, once that season was done, like, I knew for myself I had to get back around family and friends, and like, and don't get me wrong, those people in Rocky, like, they helped me get through the first chunk of that, and then I just knew that I had to get home to be around people I knew and trusted and everything else to continue with that. So, yeah.
Was that like the major part, you think, of coming back down, or was it more so like the footy element and just being around the boys and you giving up on the NRL sort of?
Man, honestly, like, it was just watching that grand final when the boys lost. Like, that was 100%. Like, they could have given me $5,000 a game, and I wouldn't have mattered. Nah, I'm coming back to Beerwah because I've seen how much it hurt. Like, DK and like Blake had only been there for a year, and, you know, like, and Das and like all the other boys that have been there for such a period of time, like how much they were desperate for that game. And then, like, just the way that it panned out, I was just watching that. I was dead set in tears. I got a photo on my phone. Like, I had a photo
in the sheds.
Yeah. I got a photo with me and the 3 other middles, and like, I got tears running down my face trying to smile for a photo. Like, how good's this year? But I was just like so devo about what happened at Beerwah, and I was just like, nah, fuck it. So I went. We had Mad Monday, then we had another Mad Monday, and then Das drove up while I was having my Mad Monday with Mum, and then I come back down the next weekend, and that was it.
What's your take on that? Obviously, we see it a bunch. Like, we see it. I ask more so because we see it so much in the game at the moment, particularly like the younger crew. going through some battles and whatever else. Like, I think you're a bit of a shoulder to lean on a lot of the time. So what's your take on his experiences? Because you would have been talking to him a fair bit.
Yeah, it's. I'll throw you one back, and I think you don't get asked this enough. What's your take on it? Because I think I lean on you a lot. So let's not go around in circles. But you give me yours, and I'll obviously give you mine. So
well, I think I don't know. I think it's a common thing these days, right? I think a lot of kids are probably like a lot of young men. There's probably just a lot of pressure on them, right? I think to be like the generation we're in. The generation they've seen before them have been like these tough, masculine, blue collar type men. And I think the societal thing or whatever it is puts the pressure on him to be that kind of guy. I don't know. I think a lot of guys, and I speak to a lot of guys even in our club who kind of go through it. There's probably been two in particular I've spoken to in the last probably year or two who have gone through that kind of stuff. And obviously they haven't gone through so much what Hilly's gone through because obviously he bought a house with his missus, broke up, was living away. I don't know. I think it's more so they probably don't see the light because it's like, I think where I'm going with this, I think kids these days from 20 to 30, it's a tough shit to get through, right? All I'd probably say, the only advice I ever say to most guys is, mate, once you hit 30, life just becomes so fucking easy. Mm-hmm. And there's no pressures or anything to it. And again, I don't want to probably elaborate too much on it. Obviously, we want to talk about Hilly here, but as I said, we've got the opportunity to talk about his experiences. And I think last episode of the players, we may as well have spoken about it to a degree, but I just probably want to use this time to say, look, if you're going through shit, reach out to someone. Again, it's a cliche thing to say these days, but I don't know. I think there's always a light. I'll say that. I've been through it. I went through it probably 18, 19 myself. I think once you get through it, it makes so much sense once you're there.
I just think everyone's path's different, man. It was the Australian dream. Own a house, have a family, have kids. You know, I don't own a house, so I'll be renting for the rest of my life. And that's just that's the road I've taken, and that's the cards I've been dealt. I think, you know, like if obviously coming back down for Hilly, man, I think it was just important for us to get around him. I think as a leader and as a person of some may say stature in our community, I think it is our job and is our due diligence to help out people that are in need. I think it's our job for this podcast. It's our job for being senior and men that have been through some shit, that someone comes to you, you fucking lend a hand. And I think it's a very important thing. Obviously, I'm an older brother of a family, and I think always putting the fucking hell, Jesus Christ, this is full on.
Time.
No, like obviously with Cedo and that, you know, like and Hilly reaching out, you know, you're seeing tough men break down. It's fucking, there was a stigma a long time ago that we didn't talk about it, but I think we talk about it now as well. It's an important thing, and I really think it's up to us to lead that into young blokes, you know, because I think recently at a party me and Hilly were at, there was another young fella that was having a bit of a fucking hard time, and me and Hilly were having a chat at that time at a party, and you know, I love getting on the piss as much as anyone, but boys, if getting on the piss isn't for you and you're having too many, because I love having a beer and having a punt, fucking love it. Me and JB, we get together and she's on, baby, but like just everything in moderation as well, and try and find your means, lads. But if you need a chat, this podcast and us people are always available, so
100%. Well, there's been a few boys who've already messaged the Instagram, of course, as well. But I think one thing I would say to leave it on that before we move on, we won't have too much of a somber conversation, but I will say that there's probably been two blokes even around our group that have gone through it, and there's probably been a lot more past that before that. And if there's two that I know of, there's probably another two that we don't know of. So I dare say there's probably another 4 or 5 in each club on the coast that would be suffering a fair bit as well. So I'll probably just say that one thing is, it's happening, right? Like, so if there's 4 blokes in our club that are going through it, every other club on the coast is having the same trouble.
And we'll clip this up, man, because this needs to be out there too.
100%. So, yeah, I agree.
Call your mates, bro. It's not hard.
Yeah.
But be genuine. Like, just
100%.
How you going, mate? I'm all good. Just double check, triple check. Fuck.
Well, what got you through it, Hilly? What was it? The family and just coming back and being around the boys again? What was the?
Oh yeah, definitely. That was good. My old man telling me to pull my head in, and you know, the old school tough love, that works for me.
I agree, mate. I agree.
That works for me. Just fuck, it's not that bad, mate. Like,
well, it's going to be shit. It's going to be shit for a while.
But everyone deals, like, it's just how you deal with it. Everyone gets dealt shit cards. Everyone gets dealt shit situations. It's just how you like bounce back. Like, that's all I can say about it.
And not to throw cliches at it, but like it's the old line of, you know, diamonds are formed under pressure. I can tell you right now, if you can get through the shit, life after the shit is so much better because the resilience increases dramatically. But let's get into you coming back in that season. So obviously that would have been last season, right? 2023.
What a year.
What a year.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, go. I love it. Well, touch on these one-liners.
Go Beerwah.
Go Beerwah.
Wasn't it?
Go Beerwah. Truck nut. I thought you invented truck nut, but after I saw you say it, I've seen 100 other people fucking say it. I probably gave you credit on
13 plus. Kelly was doing a lot. And you can tell where the punters and dribblers hat he's wearing right now.
Shout out to the Hello Sport boys.
Yeah, good boys.
The 13 plus, go Beerwah was a big... yeah.
Cheers.
Be
Cheers.
soon.
Yeah,
Be
yeah.
soon.
So tell us about coming back down, mate. How was your headspace coming back and ripping into footy again? And I tell you, I made some jokes to your face and behind your back. I couldn't give a shit. That fucking hell. If you could bring that cup form back, I'm like, we're going to win a comp.
Half of it. Take half.
Yeah,
Take
fucking
half.
oath. But you did. Because I'm like, the year before you went back up there, I'm sitting there going, well, how much we paid for this? How much have I paid for this?
It'll be more next year.
Oh, turn it up. But no, dead set, one of the best seasons I've seen you play out. The Cup year was, without a doubt, the best season I've ever seen you play. But yeah, what's your take on it? Let's dive into that. We'll go back up in the mood. What's your take on that?
Best ever. Like, can't really describe it. Like, we knew we had a good team coming in, but fuck, man, like the training, like I was looking forward to going to training every Tuesday, Thursday, a couple of beers afterwards, playing on the weekend, fucking just doing the same shit every week and just having the best time. Like, I know a lot of people probably think Beerwah on the outside, like fucking bunch of grubs, these cunts, they're arrogant, they're fucking whatever. But like,
Correct.
if you're in that circle, man, it is so fun. Like,
Describe it for people who don't know.
I don't know. It's hard.
Have you ever been to a club where they have beers on a Tuesday night?
Nah, because I've always been playing decent footy, so no. But man, it's just like it's so good. Like and that's the thing too. Like we work hard. Like we rip in. Like we get flogged at training, and then sweet 60 minutes to training's done. Right, let's have a beer. All right, we'll have 2 beers, 3 beers, 10 beers. Let's go home. Like whatever it is, and then just the same thing the next week. All right. This is where the other team scored. This is where we got to be better next week. All right, let's work on that. We'll do a bit of fitness. We'll work on that. Thursday, captain's run, bit of ball work, bit of a pose. Righto, let's have a beer. Like it was just kept really simple. Like there's no overthinking. It's just get in and have fun with your mates. And I think that's like, and I think a lot of people that will be listening to this that's why you play footy.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing like rep footy and stuff, you don't get that. Like it's
social.
It's ice baths, it's review. You leave feeling like a piece of shit on a Tuesday or a Monday. But when you're playing like with your mates, like you go in, someone misses a tackle that lets a try and you're taking the piss out of them. Like,
so let's dive into that for a second. For guys who are listening who play for other clubs, particularly other A grade teams as well, who's leading that? Because obviously Das, all 4 of us in the room got a lot of respect for Das. Love the bloke. One bloke that I can take the piss out of relentlessly. He just lets me keep going. But who's leading that? Does Das pass on to like the senior leadership group? Because obviously who was in your senior leadership group last season?
oh, DK Junior, probably Damo to an extent.
Yeah. So is Dars looking at you guys going, righto, lead the way? How do you want to run training? How do you want to run shape? What's the...
He'll let everything go, like, until it gets to a point where people start getting too creative and want to go away from what we're trying to do. So, like, if you want to do a new play or whatever, he'll let that go. But the second it starts getting away from what we're trying to do, it
shuts it down.
He just goes, nah, we're not.
Because he's old school, right?
Yeah,
He's old school.
We're not doing that. So it's very player driven, but like you need a man manager. He's a very good man manager, and fucking shooting straight down the line. Like if you're playing shit, fuck,
you're gonna hear about it.
Yeah,
some heated conversations between the father and son. Don't get me wrong, because we've got one brother, Blake Hill.
Well, Blake gets a lot less than Blake gets a lot less heated conversation.
Who is a terrible trainer compared to the bloke sitting in front of me. The bloke sitting in front of me is he's
just trainer or player.
No. He changes his attitude on the field, but he's training compared to, which is obviously it's hard to compare brothers sometimes like that. He's training compared to Hilly. He's just unrivaled. Like I train next to Hilly, and fuck me, we're going at each other.
You never see a bloke not give a fuck about nothing as much as Blake, and then as soon as he steps on the footy field, he's just trying to hurt people.
It's game over. But
chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. But even Das and Hilly, it was a weird dynamic, man. It was because obviously Hilly and Rowie bring a certain standard to training at the start of the year. I thought that
I saw that.
That
I saw
lifted
that.
it was intense. Like, what was your thoughts in the start of the year, Hilly? It was a total.
Oh man, we just took off like straight away. Like starting November when we started training, it was just all in. Like we were doing contact before Christmas, like just little drills, like ripping in technique stuff that probably doesn't happen unless you have those experienced blokes coming in.
Do you think so? Do you think Rowie brought out the better in you?
Oh, I think so to a point. Like
Different styles too, but
yeah.
Hilly obviously bringing the Capras and Rowie bringing the Falcons
Yeah.
from last year
like
as well.
he's
But standards,
Yeah.
because Rowie, we take the piss out of Rowie all the time. He
trains at 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
and he's like, I think everyone could probably learn something from his aggression. Like sometimes not controlled, but like when it is controlled, man, fuck. Like he's hitting blokes hard and then doing all the little things, and that's what we were working on at training was a little bit of wrestle, a little bit of like not getting crusher tackles for DK special crusher.
Yeah, it was, man. And I said it, man.
But so you learned something,
Mate,
Yeah.
31 years old last year, and
there.
I had blokes coming back from Qcup showing me just little techniques that obviously the wrestle's such a big part of the system now, man.
Well, I want to probably touch on that a bit further as well, because I think you've been calling for a bit more Reggie's conversation, this whole podcast series, and one thing we got number one, Das obviously being the A-grade coach at Beerwah. I think he was in the sheds almost every halftime for us. Like you guys were over there training, and he'd be in the sheds with our Reggie side pretty much every home, at least every home game, if not every game that you guys were there as well. The other thing that I'll touch on here, and again, we might need a pin soon to pop this ego, but the other thing that I had from him was he'd watch us train. And I remember clearly, I can't remember the exact thing it was, but we were trying to do marker defense work. You might be able to tell me here. We'd drop back if the hooker would go or whatever. If it was one marker, and you had a call for it.
Yeah.
Just little shit like that you don't learn as Reggies, because we're there to drink piss and have fun with our mates. But I remember you come to a couple of training sessions and just watched us and said, look, try this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And whether Reggie's players pick up on it or not, I'm obviously very open-minded to that because I've never had coaching at that level. So just little things like that. I don't think happens at every club. Like you talk to other guys, we've spoken to a few boys even in this podcast that they don't really get around the Reggies too much or give lessons and tips and tricks here. But I think Hilly was big on that.
Yeah. Well, I'll just, like I said, just want to pull back and obviously keep going about the footy chat with Hilly as well. Let him keep going because I don't want it to be about me. So we'll roll on.
I think, we had Damo and DK and a lot of, I can't just name a few, like there was a lot, probably nearly everyone in our squad at some point during the year going and helping 15s, 17s, 19s, reserve grade, like just helping where we can. And like you touched on with Das, like he's watching reserve grade every week. He goes and watches, like he'll get there, we'll watch the back end of the girls' game, like halftime onwards. There was a few times he went and watched the under-17s by himself and just goes and stands in the corner.
Right.
That like doesn't make himself noticed or anything, but just having a look at a couple of blokes that might start coming through.
They're seeing it.
Not making a song and dance about it, but just this bloke goes all right. He might, a couple of years' time, A-grade sort of thing, just little earmark and whatnot.
He also did the same thing with a couple of Reggie's boys who were probably on their cast. Like Baxi is a particular one. I think he had Baxi's kind of the bloke who needs a lot of constructive criticism and conversation. I think he did a fair bit with that. So how's he feeling? How's Das feeling about coaching? How old is he now?
He's 60. He just turned 60.
Still enjoying it?
Oh, man, I think it keeps him young because he had so much time out of the game. Like he coached 2004 St Mary's, and that was like a real strong comp back then. That was his last year, and then I think he helped one of his mates for a local side in 2010 or something like that. So he sort of had 12 years in the wilderness, and fuck, now you're going to get the shits about this, Das, but fucking sitting there watching a Saturday night NRL game with him at 18, 19, 20 was a fucking punish because he's hammering everyone. Fucking, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? So now he gets the chance again to put his thoughts into practice, and I think that's good for him because he's got such a footy brain.
You got any good stories about Das telling you a bit of man or anything like that?
Oh, got one.
Yeah, I know you got one.
We were talking about this the other day, actually. I think I was 17 playing up in age in the SG ball, and I wasn't getting much game time, and I was sitting on the bench. And the week previous, I think I got 5 minutes at the end of the game. And I think he must have had a few beers or something. And that night, he goes, "Fuck, mate, you gotta become a man at some point. Start defending yourself and whatever." I said, "Right, not really sure what you want me to do, but I'll make a stand for myself." So the next week we go and play. I'm sitting on the bench. There's 5 minutes to go. I haven't gone on yet. So, well, fuck it. There's 5 minutes to go. We're up by 20. I'm not going to get used. Off the sideline, straight up the tunnel, into the showers, fucking showered up, straight out of there. Get in the car. Darcy going, what the fuck are you doing? What are you talking about? Why'd you walk off the field? I said, you told me to be a man for me. Not that fucking way, you idiot. I was going,
I can imagine that.
Just got 40-minute drive home from fucking Leichhardt Oval, just getting hammered in the car.
Should we recap another fucking dust spray on Damo at halftime? Or was it end of the game that time?
That was the end of the game, yeah.
Oh, that was fucking funny. What was it? Let's relive it, please.
I think it was, I'm not sure who we versed, but
Was it Coolum?
it might have been.
I think it was
I'm
cool
not sure
because
if I played or not.
you were
Coolum at home.
Yeah, Coolum at home. You were down at halftime.
Yeah.
18-0 at half time.
Yeah.
And he's,
you end up winning. What?
Well, maybe it was 16-0 at
16
half
0
time.
you won 18, 16.
And I'm on Damo's corner in this one. Darcy come in. Damo, stop fucking talking to the refs, mate. They're not going to change their mind, blah, blah, blah. Darcy, I wasn't even talking to the ref this week. Like, I was doing the right thing. I shut up. Nah, you were doing this. And Damo, fuck you, Darcy, and just walked off out the sheds.
I think I was
not playing anymore.
Yeah, I was about 10 beers deep in the sheds at the end of the game, coming in for the song.
Darcy just picked the wrong bloke.
Oh.
Like, Damo's doing nothing wrong. He's just hammered him.
Fuck Damo.
How'd you find the obviously back to local league this year? How do you find the difference between Qcup for people who are listening? Like, what's the major difference? And I'll take it to a Kiwana game, etc. We're not going to talk about it. Obviously, winning 70-0 or something like that. I'll take it to a Kiwana game. What's the big difference for people that are aspiring to be or listening, man?
It's like the speed is.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. Like, speed of the game in Qcup is real quick. But if you get a roll on in A grade, which we had a lot of the time, like it's sort of similar. The Qcup and like higher standard footy, like the wrestle, is the difference. Like the slowing the rucks down, winning tackles, like that's the major difference. Getting like your defensive line set, stuff like that. That's
coaching though, right? Coaching from a younger age.
And time, man. Like we spend 2 hours, maybe 2.5 max on the paddock a week at training. Like you're doing that.
What? Really?
No, just at
for local league.
Oh, sorry.
You're doing 2.5 hours a day. At Qcup. So you might get 10 hours a week on the field, whereas we're getting 2.
Yeah.
But the I honestly think, and I don't know if it's just because it's me and like I've come from Qcup, whatever. I get hit harder playing A grade. Like A grade is more physical. It's a bit rougher.
Well, you got a target.
You got a huge target on your back, I think, as well.
It's still like the contact's no different. And if I was going to be honest, I would say it's probably a bit more brutal in A grade, just because they're not trying to win the tackle. They're just trying to fucking.
They're trying to hurt you.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
I think you touched on Jacko Russell. Said the exact same thing. I think he debuted in 18's reserve grade. He said in A grade, they're trying to hurt you.
Yeah.
He goes, I got fucking new forwards going. There's the halfback. Hurt the cunt.
Yeah.
So there's just it's a bit of a difference there. But what's before you go?
No, go. Yeah, you're right.
How many games you missed this year?
Oh,
You'd know.
maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah. How'd you go sit on the sideline watching?
Hated
it.
No good. I'd love to be a coach. I don't know if I can be after that, because not being able to control anything, like you can't do anything. So that's tough for me. Like, and I never missed a game of Cup through injury or anything. So come back here, get injured. I was like, fuck, this is tough. And then just struggled with that. Just not knowing what to do. Like sitting there, just fuck. Why isn't someone doing this? Or like just the things that I can see. Or why?
How do you go watching tape? Is tape? Because I watch tape. I'm the same. Like I look at it and go, I probably hit 30, 31. I thought, like I've obviously got enthusiasm and the confidence to coach, but I look at it now and go, well, same deal. I'm pretty similar to you. I look at it and go, well, fuck, I just want to be out there just doing it for them. Like just go where I tell you to go or do what I tell you to do. But how do you go watching tape as well with that? Like, are you more critical of your own game or the guys around you?
Nah, myself.
Yeah.
Like, and anyone that I played with would probably attest to that. That like, if something goes on around me, I'll wear the blame because I should know that I should have done something differently or whatever. But at the same time, and a few of the boys would have been on the end of one of my sprays this year, like, if someone fucking misses an assignment, like, I'll let them know as well. Like, just in the same, if I miss, like, DK's going to spray me. Like, it's not a personal thing. It's just be accountable.
DK and I have spoken about it. The 1 year we played in Regis together, I think he draws a lot of comparison.
Yes, no, I agree. Yep. Continue.
He drew a lot of comparisons to you guys as well. And I think it's probably just the standards of not only the club but each other. And I think it's nice having someone that you can look at any point during the game and go, mate, let's it's me and you here.
Yeah.
Like, forget everyone else. It's me and you. If we're down or the back's against the wall, it's me and you, mate. Let's go. Let's not forget it. Don't not worry about anyone else. Let's just get it fucking done.
And I think probably we had a lot better forward pack this year than what you had the year before. Like you and Blake and
Jesus.
you had it hard that year, just looking at each other going, fuck.
I think he was averaging 75 minutes a game.
Yeah. So like we got to spread it around a bit more this year, but yeah, it's still the same principle.
Did you have something further to say there?
No, I think it's just more the accountability and the leadership. And I think sometimes in the game, you fuck, mate, you don't mean to give a penalty away. And sometimes you just look at yourself and go, fuck. And the first bloke you're looking at is Hilly, or the first Hilly knows. He just like you. Well,
you're not so much letting the team. You're letting the team down, of course, but there's a bloke who's probably been busting their nuts.
Mate, and I think Hilly got in trouble a lot this year for hitting too hard. And I always think it's about A grade. I think sometimes the lower level of referee will penalise a hard hitting forward for hitting too hard. And I think, geez, mate, if it's a higher level of, like, say, a Dill or the higher level of referee, it's a fair tackle.
You mean like with 30 seconds to go in a grand final?
Similar. Well, you didn't get suspended, are you? So
I got fucking sin bin.
Exactly, sin bin. And I mean, we're about to touch on that, but I want to. Are you segueing to finals now?
No, yeah, well, I was. Well, no, you go ahead.
So I want to segue to the finals, Hilly, and I'm going to pull back from this one, mate. We obviously go undefeated all year. We go through to the last round of the year. I think June's hurt his knee at the time. I'm suspended for the one game, and coming into the last game of the year, Maroochydore at Maroochydore.
Yeah.
Give us a bit of your idea of what transpires from that game, mate. Like, obviously, it leads to 3 suspensions coming out for a finals game. So,
yeah, beats me. I got suspended, didn't even get penalised. So
yeah,
the old match review got me a beauty with that one.
What did you get? 2 weeks?
I got 1 week. But if I fought it and lost, I got 2.
So it's not worth fighting.
I was confident that we were going to win the next week, so I didn't want to fight it. So I've gone into the grand final off 3 weeks off, which is tough. But yeah, I just think, if it doesn't get pulled up on the field, fucking what happens on the field stays on the field. Like, it shouldn't be, you shouldn't be sending things to fucking match reviews and just being a self. You know what? Like, let's just fucking men and men. Let's just play.
I think where I'm getting at here is more.
Sorry, that was a bit personal.
No. Fuck, mate, go ahead. This podcast
is the platform for it,
This is free for all.
Hey, we're neutral here.
I think where I'm getting at, man, is obviously Beerwah make it to a prelim against Kawana, we got a home semi-final, and we find out on a Monday morning I'm wearing a pair of fucking fishing waders because I'm in the fucking creek, edging I'm on the canal doing a bit of concreting, so I'm in the water. And, mate, I get a phone call from Das, and 3 of our players have been put on report. And
That weren't penalised.
And it was something that was so out of the blue for us, because it was a top referee ref in that game. And I thought, being the top referee, you're undermining the referee for one, putting these blokes that weren't penalised on. But for 2, one was Jamie Hill, one was Blake Hill, and one was Qcup, and 3 major parts of our footy team at the time. Just a huge spanner in our works, we had such a successful year, and we were on a high. That just made our team went from here to here in a matter of confidence wise. I'm not saying where we were, but I'm saying confidence wise. You imagine what that did to a football team.
But what it also did to the camaraderie of the guys who were still there.
Absolutely,
do you know what I mean? Like, it was. I remember around the club that time. I don't think we barely trained that. Even Reggie's barely trained that because we were still in. Were we still in that point? Or maybe there was a couple of boys down there, and I remember talking to you guys, and we barely trained that night because we were just so pissed off about the whole situation. But I think that weekend came, and I think it was just there was a bit of a wire to play for,
and it shows what Hilly meant to our football team. I personally, I was very to Das. I was worried. We were against the Kawana side that was full strength at that time. I think Hilly was having chats with Ryan Jeffrey at the time, and they were pretty stacked up.
Yeah, they were confident.
They were confident because I think we always kind of had this thought that
we just had Jack Aiken up our sleeve.
Yeah, we always kind of had this thought that people thought we couldn't win without Hilly, and that fucking pissed me off. That pissed our whole team off, and I think Das.
Who stood up that week? You reckon?
I think.
I think Rowie come back after a few weeks off because his jaw.
Yeah.
And he fucking...
That was his first game back, wasn't it?
Come off the
I think
bench.
it might have been at first or second, and he had a blinder. Blake played well, White
I think
played
Blakey
well.
started, didn't
I think
he?
our whole forward pack discussion. I remember Hilly was wearing a club
Paulo's
shirt.
pointing at himself, by the way.
Hilly was wearing a club shirt, and we were in a huddle, mate. And shout out to Maroochydore. Thanks for doing that ex-president, because that fucking made us get through that GF so much easier.
Ex-president?
I think he's the ex-president now, but mate, he
should be.
I know he's. We're all well aware of the whole comp's well aware of who reported it, but mate, that steeled us that game.
Yeah.
I think just having people doubt us that we weren't a good football side without Hilly. He was a major part of our football team all year, and he was the best player in the football team. I'm fucking without a doubt. But
you just made the grand final the year before. I think it goes.
Are you the icing on the cake? Is that what you're saying?
No. But what I'm saying is,
he's modest enough to not claim that.
No. What I'm saying,
I think he was a missing puzzle piece. For
he definitely is.
The boys made that grand final the year before with absolutely no right to make that grand final. They won by 2 in extra time against Cabo. They beat Kawana without a couple of blokes, and then made that grand final, and they were playing on busted legs, injuries, you name it, suspensions. And then just going off that, they had the runs on the board for the next year. So going into that, they all trusted each other. They all believed in each other. And then I just come back into a machine that was well oiled, and it was just easy.
I think it was. You came to a machine that was well oiled, yes, but probably just didn't have the extra gear in the system that had to get him to that extra way. Like the amount of confidence you would give to the boys around you.
I think that's the.
Yeah.
I think that gets slept on so much.
There's guys around who probably don't get the accolades they probably deserve for creating more confident players. And I think Hilly deserves that. Let's move on, because we're already now hour and a half now. Get on to the grand final. We can touch on the game if you like, but I want to get to the point of obviously winning that game and your emotions, because we've heard DK's insights on that, and I probably talk about it plenty with the local boys as well. But what was your take on that game? Because obviously you'd been around the club enough by that stage to know 44 years or 45 years? 44 years. 44 years, no win. You saw the community after that game. You saw how much it meant to the players, the local boys, and everyone else who was involved. What did that mean to you?
Oh, man, I didn't sleep the night before, and I am the least nervous person on the planet. I do not get nervous. No matter what level of footy I'm playing, I don't care. I know what I'm doing. I could not sleep. I normally nap on game day. After lunch, I have a big feed and have a nap. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just nervous. And then I think what brought me back was I used to go to mum and dad's house and go to the footy with them. And I walked into mum and dad's house, and Blake was living with them at the time. Walked in there, Blake's on the PlayStation. I said, "You ready to go?" He goes, "Time is it?" I said, "Time to go." "Oh, fuck, we got a grand final to play," sort of thing. Just no fucks given. And just, I think that sort of just brought me, calm me down. And then, but yeah, go through the game, the roller coaster that it was. We deserved to win, but we did that. We worked for every inch of that win. And then just I got a video on my phone I posted on the Facebook. DK's on the sideline, cramped up, couldn't move anymore. Blake's on the sideline. Princey, one of my other best mates, on the sideline. I'm in the sim bin, and Pup, and they missed that kick, and we just run, and DK's turn around, looking at the crowd. We just crash tackle him. Pup's on the sideline giving Qcup a hug. Qcup's coach Pup through the juniors, sort of thing. And then just all the boys just erupted. Obviously the shit that happened on the other side of the field we had nothing to do with, because we were too busy cuddling and carrying on. But man, I think that bus trip back was probably one of the funnest things of my life. Just singing songs, carrying on, drinking piss, and then to get off that bus at Beerwah, there's probably 200 people there, 300.
I reckon 250, 300 for sure.
Just walking off the bus, and that's probably as close as feeling like a rock star you ever going to feel like. It was just so good. Blake's buying you beers, whatever sort of thing. Everyone wanted to come and have a piece, just have a chat, and it felt like you were sort of floating through Beerwah until fucking 7 a.m. the next morning anyway.
Floating.
What's do you remember the couple of moments through the GF? It's hard to remember, but do you remember a couple of moments there where I remember looking at you, man, and just you were in space.
Yeah.
I was and I remember just screaming at you, just yelling at you, what are you doing?
How much of the game do you remember?
Oh, I remember the whole thing.
Were you a bit out of it? Like, remember when you were just that fatigued?
Because I had the 3 weeks off.
That's right,
I was just gassed. Like, and we only played one game in between, but I was just gassed. Like, just hadn't played, minimal training sort of thing, like letting the team do the team run without me in it and stuff. Like, yeah, I was just gassed. And, like, I think we got the numbers and I think we had, like, 38% of the ball. So we defended 62% of the time.
Yeah. Well, you speak to, sorry to interrupt you, but we spoke to Jacko, and obviously Jacko said that there was nothing left in the tank for them to throw at you. Like, they gave it everything. Kawana.
Mate,
And they probably played as well as they
100%.
Like,
Yeah,
they couldn't have played much better.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, the way that we started that game, I feel like if we just capitalised on one more moment in that game, it wouldn't have been as hard. But that's the way footy goes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dust with the game plan.
We're at an hour 40, so we'll keep pressing this on. Let's get to 2024, mate. Hell of a story so far, and hopefully everyone stayed listening this entire time. But 2024, I want to touch on very briefly, more so because the big fella next to me, to my side, my co-host, obviously decided to pass the reins over, and I think he got to a point probably in his life where he'd sort of blooded his obviously younger brother, Matty, June at the time, to probably get to the point of taking over. And I think having you there, he knew that there was some confidence there to partner with him. So for those that aren't aware, I think we've already spoken about it once before on the podcast already, but obviously you and Matty got named as co-captains, right? What's it look like? Obviously we're in February now, but what's it look like after the end of the season, once you knew that you're going to take over? How are you feeling now? How's your energy changed? How has your leadership changed? Are you thinking different? Give us a rundown on that.
Well, it's definitely been different. Like, DK's had a bit of time off, not come back till training until the other day. So just not having that louder voice around, sort of me and Junior have to pick up the slack a bit. And I think through training and that, we've always been good, like leading by example at training and stuff. But it's just a little bit more man managing is what we need to get a bit better at. Something I've never really had to do. I just turn up and play and whatever else. So just, a few more conversations, like getting around, a couple of the boys that played Reggie's last year that might be playing with us a bit more this year, just things like that.
Yeah.
It's been...
so you've learned a lot in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
More so from a man management and leadership perspective.
Yeah, because I think I captained one side when I was 12, like for a little 3-day carnival. Like, I've never been the captain at all. So,
and it was kind of thrust upon you, really. I mean, ultimately, you probably didn't, I dare say you weren't asking for it, but you were just a natural leader in that side that it made sense, DK, right, to obviously pass the reins?
I think you had the coach mentalities anyway. I think there was definitely the right decision. It's probably been that the boys are a bit younger, a forward and a backs coach is similar to what NRL sides are kind of doing at the moment as well. Like, I think you've seen a Tommy Deard and Ruben Cotter combination that's just been changed at the Cowboys because of an ageing leadership group for the long term. But
well, the good thing is
the respect thing. I think that's the big one. I said what Hilly may not lack in voice, he will lack in. He'll make in actions, I think that's going to be a massive thing for some of these blokes that haven't played a lot of footy with Hilly. They're going to fucking get a real rude shock if they're doing the wrong thing on the footy field, which is fucking fantastic.
But also, fortunate enough, you've got like the you got the DKs and the Rowies around you as well to help you get through it.
And Rowie will spray everyone inside.
Let's try and keep this under 2 hours if we can. We're going to keep this normal proceedings. So the next question, of course, is what's the vibe around there? I wouldn't know because I haven't been back to pre-season yet.
Hey, you stand by your hat. Anti-preseason.
This
bloke has not been
club.
spotted in Beerwah for
5
months.
Last seen in the referee's shed.
Hey, season kicks off a bit later.
Actually, Das is having a kip in the referee's shed Mad Monday.
Hey, if you need a 14, mate, I'm available. All right, as long as it's a slim fit fucking jersey.
How much money are you throwing in?
Yeah. We'll talk about that off air. But let's talk about it. Obviously, I haven't been to pre-season yet. DK's done one session. We did have a bit of a pack there. We weren't going to go back until March. I ain't going back till March. As soon as I heard April 6th, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mate, I'm going back fucking March 28th. Fuck that. Anyway, moving on. So how's the vibe around the club at the moment from your perspective? You've been there obviously full pre-season?
Yeah, no, it's been good. A lot more like of the younger boys and I think Pooley's doing a good job with the 19s.
Yeah, I've been talking about to Pooley.
They're getting good numbers in there and then even just like the C graders are coming through. Reggie's probably a bit slack on numbers, but our boys have been pretty good. We've been getting 10, 11 most weeks. So, good vibe, like same as always, just rip in. Like Dust's been flogging us a little bit, but go and have a beer and just chat shit and same as just
Me and
working
DK
hard.
not there. Who's buying the beers?
Quinny.
Quinny, of course.
I think Stevie Ray bought a carton. Shout out, Stevie.
So obviously you've heard all the podcasts so far. There's been a fair bit of recruitment getting around the other clubs. What's Beerwah's recruitment looking like and retention?
Well, we lost Blake's going back to Sydney, Wyatt to Norse. Bakes is
We know.
obviously with the Falcons and Caloundra. Shock horror.
We've got to stay neutral. Stay neutral.
For my
And then
homies.
Pup's playing captain of 19, sorry. So well done to Pup for that. That's a huge achievement.
Fat neck Jack.
No, Fat Neck Jack, Big Trap Jack. He's gone over to England for the season, so we're not sure if we're going to get him back.
At all.
No, he might not make it back.
Is there a whisper that him and Smoothie have gone there together? Is it Jai Smoothie have gone together?
Yeah, from what I've been told, I was on the piss with Smoothie last weekend.
Is
but I
there
don't
is there
remember that
also a whisper
conversation.
that there's
Maybe local property can sponsor them both.
is
Come
there a
back.
potential dedeadline that they might come back after the season's finished?
How many games
One
you need?
Jai Smoothie might come back to Beerwah. Is that right?
Well, we'll keep that under wraps
Oh,
for now.
jeez.
Local property
Might
group?
be
Jeez.
Anyone know the owner of local property groups? Throw some
Oh,
sponsorship in
wow.
there.
No, I'm not too- no,
So
I'm not
any
really sure.
recruitment? Obviously, coming off a big season, winning the grand final, surely recruitment's a big target. So what big names you got to drop on recruitment?
I think we've only bought the Tommy Dwan. He was playing up in Mackay and he won the comp up in the Mackay comp last season.
Local boy?
A Beerwah junior, so
Yeah.
he's coming back. He's been training really well, centre second rower. So with Jack going and Bakes and Wyatt, there's a couple of spots there that he can fill. So,
What positions are Beerwah lacking at the moment?
well, a fucking front rower named Rowan Jardine and a back rower named Daniel Kidd for at least a couple of weeks anyway.
So Beerwah's only recruited one player so far, or have you got any exclusives?
No,
Okay.
honestly, no.
So who are we looking for? Anyone looking for a club that we back row? You said back row and a front row.
Yeah, we're chasing middles. We got in that draft the other day. We got a good middle / back rower from the Capras, Fallon, who was up there playing under 20s.
Yeah, elaborate on that because you've played with him.
No, he was in the 20s when I was playing Qcup up there. But yeah, always thought he was a real good player.
Coming off a season not playing though, correct?
I think he did his knee.
Yeah, okay.
I think he started the first couple of games up at the Capras and then did his knee.
So that was a big push from you to get him to Beerwah.
Well, I just thought he was a smoky. I was surprised he didn't go earlier because obviously, like I remember we played a game down at East Tigers and they played before us and Das come up to me after the game and said, "Who's this?" And it was Thalen. And then he's like, "Fuck, he goes all right." And then we seen his name in the draft and surprised.
So good enough, and probably an interesting question here. So good enough to pick as your number one, but you knew that no one else had too much to do. So you wouldn't have kept him for number two, thinking that no one else knew anything about him.
No, I thought
He was that good that you got to pick him as number one, regardless of what
I was
everyone else
surprised.
thinks.
We had the 8th pick, and I was surprised that he got down that far.
Wow, okay.
That's the thing. That's the smoky of the draft.
Well,
Like,
I had a bit of inside info. Number 9 was picking him.
good
Right.
I
player.
didn't want to leave him.
Yeah.
No, fair call. You had a big old session at Silly Sunday Mad Monday, mate. How was BY's Silly Sunday Mad Monday? Big numbers there.
Tough.
Big numbers.
That's what it is. Everyone looks forward to Mad Monday. I look forward to them as well, but you just know that the next couple of days you're going to be in the wars.
Oh, yeah, you got to take a week off.
Yeah.
How many blokes were there, you reckon? Sunday, Monday, how many blokes were there?
Sunday
DK didn't rock up until about midday Monday, so forget about him.
Yeah, whispers have it he was sleeping in the car somewhere. But oh fuck, man! I got that photo of all the boys on the roof. There's probably 20 of us at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Fuck, I'm not in that photo because I actually did go for a little snooze quickly.
And then I think we pulled up at about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock on the Monday night. I think a few of the boys might have stayed. And then me, Damo and Junior went back down to about 10 o'clock in the morning and we ripped again until 10 o'clock the following, what was that, the Monday. So it was a lot of time.
Outside roofer,
Yeah.
who was best on ground, you reckon?
Oh,
Well, I know Piggy's going to want to
Piggy.
plug.
Piggy.
Definitely.
What'd you say? 3-day-old shit in his undies.
Piggy, he's still got the shit. He saved it.
I think, you know what? I think Piggy's Mad Monday called up to him at our CrossFit session on Tuesday. He was in the fetal position.
Yeah, I heard
nearly
the stories about
died.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I trained at that CrossFit.
6 months later, but it finally caught up to
Hey,
him.
mind you, I was talking to the coach of that CrossFit and he was saying, because I trained at that, he was saying that you fucking led the way.
Yeah, me and Kale.
Yeah.
Fucking little weapon. Actually, I haven't said Kale's name yet. What a superstar.
Yeah, but shit on a silly
Great
Sunday,
player.
man, mate. Worse on ground? Out of the A-grade boys?
Not a player. Kev Kev went home early. Blake Hill went home early.
Kev was in a world of hurt at the pub on Sunday, tell ya.
Yeah.
Pavitt, Brad Pavitt.
Yeah.
He was floating around.
What about players? It was worse. I tell you, one who's always a surprise is Jenko. He's always there. He's always just hovering around.
Yeah, but he was in a wheelchair, but he couldn't move.
Who was worse on ground of the A-grade boys?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Hold on, was your brother there?
No, he was there for a bit. I think he went home. He stayed overnight. I'm
Even
pretty sure.
Darts put in
had
a shift.
Nah, Tommy McClure.
Did he show up?
Nah, he was good.
He was all right. He was not too bad.
Got to get him out of the
Das
underage
was
fucking
good.
women bar.
Das is a stayer.
Oh, Baxi. Are we putting Baxi in the A-grade category? Baxi's
No,
never
we'll
there.
go of the players who played in the GF. And I'll tell you what's special. Chock Humphreys.
Oh, he's
That kid shaved the bra in the Hawaiian thing.
Mate, I tell you what, I've never seen a hairy chest as glorious as that.
I'm not sure. I think
The boys just get it.
I
they
think just
get it.
on the back of the celebrations, and the monument that it was, like no one wanted to.
So you're
quit.
basically saying, obviously Beerwah's only recruited one player so far for A-grade this season.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a good silly Sunday Mad Monday, Beerwah's got it. Would that be fair to say?
You've got to come into the pre-season for our pre-season Silly Sunday Mad Monday. We like to have one of them before the comp starts.
Oh yeah, what is it?
See if
Six
you're made
weeks
of
out, isn't it?
So
See if you're made of the right
usually
stuff.
Beerwah like to.
We started.
There's a race day around.
That's
Isn't it?
good point.
So
That's a great point.
Is that battalion weekend?
no, go on, Hilly.
Lady Oaks.
I was just going to say, and that's just a testament to how close our group was. I forgot to bring that up. Every single player from our A grade squad, partners, few little Zach Boss shout out, few just the boys that are a part of the community down there. There was every single person at that race day. No one had to be there. It wasn't a
Compulsory.
It wasn't a compulsory event or anything, and everyone just went out of their way on a bye weekend when we see each other 3 times a week to get there and have a good time. I think that just speaks volumes of the community.
So if you're looking for a club that loves the piss,
Yeah, I think obviously
But works hard. We work hard.
that's right. I think obviously we're touching on. I spoke to a few lads this week. Obviously coming back Thursday night. I think obviously there's a few blokes suspended for Beerwah. So one. DK, we back round 3.
Roland Chardonnay.
I think Rowie gets back round 6, and I think Pup is back from Colts duties around round 4 or 5. So, there's 3 forwards coming back, and I think
when's the draw out?
Mate,
They've got
shout
the
out to
rates.
Sunny Coast. Fuck you, shit the bed every fucking time.
TK's had fucking 10 fucking beers.
No, I don't care, but BRL's got theirs out. We never have ours out till about a week
Useless.
before. It does my head in.
My missus
because-
asked me from fucking 8 weeks
Oh,
out.
mate. Shannon Roy, you there, mate? You got a
Tell you
copy,
what,
Shannon,
we'll
in
be
the
versing-
dozer?
We'll be
Jesus Christ.
We'll be versing Coolum, Kawana, and Maroochydore in the first 3
No
rounds.
doubt.
I can guarantee it. Suspension.
DK, final comments, my friend.
I reckon a few boys want to know this. Why do you try and be the most hated bloke on the Sunshine Coast every time you play footy, Hilly? I think is it just the competitive nature in yourself? Do you like going at a player? I think is it just you like going after their best player?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think, and old school saying, to be the best, you got to beat the best. So if someone's
I love that.
I don't really go into a game picking a battle or anything before the game, but if I see someone trying to staunch up, take a charge against our forward pack, I'll try and do my best to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a totally different person on the field. I just switch off from Jamie Hill and go and play footy, and probably am one of the most hated blokes on the coast because I play tough and borderline aggressive.
Agreed.
The best players are bipolar. Different player on the field. I'll tell you.
And before we go, just touch on one thing for us, Hilly. Can you give us the noise you make when you come into a fucking hard tackle? Can you just do it in the microphone? Do it in the
every tackle.
Ready? Give us 1, 2, 3.
It's just a
What is that?
that's an effort grunt we call that.
Every time, bro.
I don't know. Do you know? I got that off Junior Tatol. Shout out to him. He does it every time.
True.
Watch him. You'll hear it on the ref's mics.
Give it one more.
No. That's good. Might set that as a new ringtone. Chuck that in the background of the pre-season intro.
Oh, beauty, boys.
Good stuff, boys. An hour, 53 minutes. Probably one of the best. Hilly, well done, mate.
Cheers,
Appreciate
boys.
it.
Thanks for
DK.
having me.
Thanks, lads.
He's really
Well
fucking
done.
tuned out. See you later.
Well done.
Hooroo for now.
I told you.
Oh.